Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris Robb, the CEO and founder of Mass Participation World. Absolutely delighted to be your host for this bumper edition of World Athletics webinars celebrating women in running. We have over 500 people registered. I looked about half an hour ago. We were already at 513 and they were still pouring in. So wonderful. Lots of regulars registered. You know the drill. Say hello to us in the chat, please. Tell us just quickly your name, where you're coming from, and we'll look forward to, I'll announce you as you come in. I'm not seeing any comments in the chat there. Just I wonder if it's not properly enabled. Oh, there we are. There's Javier Nunez. Hello, Javier. Say quick hello if you're joining in the chat. Here they're starting to pour in. Hello, Connor Davies. They're coming in here very quickly. I can see Sonia Bertok. Lovely to see you, Sonia. We see Atonye. Wonderful to see you from Lagos. Ulysses there. I see Mary, of course, is one of our panels. David Katz. Hello, David. There's more people coming in. Tiago from Lisbon, or Porto, Tiago, I think. Have I got that right? Miriam in the Maldives. Wonderful. Fred Tesla, just saw you in Tokyo a couple of weeks ago. Mexico, the Maldives, I see. London, George Hutchins. Hello, George. Nice to see you. Gilmero from Brazil. Hola. Victor Sevilla from Valencia. Good afternoon from Madrid, Luis Miguel, who's a regular with us. Malaysia, Rainer Baymans. Lovely to see you, Rainer. Thanks for joining. Jenny from BMW Berlin Marathon. Christian, Toby from Nigeria. Johannes from, I didn't get where you flashed off. Arthur Jackson from the Gambia. Wonderful, Arthur. Claudia Schenk from Brazil. Plenty of people joining in here. Marlin from Sweden. All right, just keep on saying hello as we go through. Philadelphia, there I see Kiera. That's you, Kiara. You're on our panel. Wonderful to see you. Sandeep joining us from India. Yeah, we'll let the people keep coming in. Let me get the show underway because we have a really packed show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Again, welcome. For those of you that don't know me, Chris Robb, the CEO and founder of Mass Participation World. Absolutely delighted, as always, to be your host tonight. Our first World Athletics webinar of the year, celebrating women in running in an International Women's Week, and just an absolute bumper program. We have a little bit of housekeeping before we get underway with introducing the program. We have about a 2-hour and 35-minute program. Hopefully you can stay the distance, but if not, we're actually live streaming on the Mass Participation World Facebook page and YouTube channels and recording, so you'll be able to access it after. We'll make the recordings available. As ever, a big thank you to our team from CGX Consulting in China. We are live streaming into China. Big thanks to Julia Chui, Jerry, and Ching Ling, the team up there that are making that happen. During the course of the program, keep saying hello in the chat. If you would like to communicate, there's no audio communication, but put your questions in the chat, put your comments in the chat or the Q&A. We'll be monitoring those from the studio and picking up as many of them as possible as we can during the show. There are a couple of decks being presented tonight. Those will be made available afterwards. As I mentioned, will the recording be? So hang on tight, buckle up. We've got a action-packed 2 hours and 30 minutes or so now. And let me read through the program with you. We've got 16 speakers from around the world, most of them live. And then we have a very special segment with some kids from around the world coming to us. We wanted to include the future generation. That will be some videos recorded. But let me talk you through what we're going to cover during the course of the next 2.5 hours. Our first session will be DEI is Still Key. That will be a panel moderated by Mary Wittenberg with an amazing panel there. We then move on to a session which I'll be hosting, which I'm very excited for. Juggling on the Run, Racing, Parenting, and Building a Global Business. I'm sure that is going to be an amazing session. We then have a hugely inspiring video, Beating Cancer, Conquering My First 42K. And then after that, we will be welcoming Benjamin from World Athletics to give us a little bit of a snapshot into the World Athletics Copenhagen Global Running Conference, which is happening in September. And then undoubtedly one of the highlights, really honored and delighted that tonight we have someone who will need no introduction. Paula Radcliffe will be joining, and we had hoped that she was going to be interviewed by Ted Metellus, but Ted has commitments with the New York Half this weekend, and we have second best with me having that conversation with Paula, and I'm absolutely honored and delighted to be having that segment. We then have a video, as I mentioned, celebrating the next generation. And then a wonderful segment. I was recently in Lagos for the first Africa Road Running Conference with World Athletics. The energy in the room was incredible. The industry is going great places in Africa, and we have a wonderful segment there, a new generation of female African leaders for the sport, and that is, I promise you, going to be a wonderful segment. And from there, we move on to what's shaping the modern female running identity, and that will also be a bit of a snapshot of what's happening in the Middle East. And from there, we move on to segment 10 of the show, which is unconventional female leadership in the sport, measuring marathon routes in the world's busiest cities. And if you still got the stamina, you'll put up with me one last time when I come back to wrap that segment up for the end of a 2.5-hour show. So thanks again for joining us. For those of you that might have just joined and don't know me, Chris Robb, CEO and founder of Mass Participation World, absolutely delighted to be hosting this show, celebrating women in running on the occasion of International Women's Day and Week. And our first panel, delighted as always to welcome Mary Wittenberg, who also needs very little introduction, the USA General Manager of Let's Do This. Mary, are you on screen? I'm going to welcome you to moderate this panel. DEI is still key. And as we do that, I'm going to welcome to the screen Kiara Smalls, the Executive Director of Running Industry Diversity Coalition, Emily Glasser, the CEO of Achilles International, Martha Lopez, Achilles International runner. Martha is a blind runner, so for the benefit of Martha, I'm going to share the fact that I'm a middle-aged guy with salt and pepper hair sitting here with a blue ASICS shirt on in a studio in Bali, and we're going to ask some of the speakers to do likewise and give a short description of themselves. And helping Martha out, because Martha doesn't speak English, we're going to have Rodriguez Villalobos, who's going to be interpreting for this panel. For now, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to hand to the very capable hands of Mary Wittenberg to take it away. DEI is still key.
Thank you so much, Chris. Hi, everybody. Great to be with all of you today. We're going to jump right in. So many of us say running is the most accessible sport in the world. All you need is a pair of shoes and a willingness to take the first step. And I've said that too often myself, and I know many of us have, and we all know the reality is a lot more complicated. And thanks to many of you joining us today, we have an opportunity, and I know we're all trying a lot harder to make sure that the sport really is accessible. Access, representation, and belonging, and that real feeling of belonging and running are still very much works in progress. And we've learned it takes really intentional leadership and advocacy to build that sense of belonging and true inclusion. Today, we're so very, very lucky to hear from 3 women who are truly leading the way in ensuring we achieve the kind of diversity and inclusion and sense of belonging that we really want to. And they are making running much more welcoming, and I think ultimately much stronger as an industry and in a sport for everybody. So we only have 30 minutes together. So we're going to approach this like a good workout, quick warm up, a strong, middle reps, and then a really fast sprint to the finish. So Martha, I'm going to start with you. I will say, I and our panelists are all beautiful, like you. And I used to be a redhead. No, I'm on the blonder side. And I have a big, giant smile because I get to speak with you this morning. I know you started running in 2015. I know as a blind runner, you have discovered for yourself the power of running, and what's incredibly remarkable is now you're sharing it with others. Can you share with us a moment in running when you realized that this sport truly could be life-changing?
Cambiado. El running ha cambiado mi vida porque yo anteriormente no corría y empezar a correr me dio la disciplina de poder ejercitar mi cuerpo y mantenerme activa todo el tiempo.
The running changed my life because I hadn't run before I see. So the running for me changed my life, changed my world, and changed everything for me.
Amazing. And Kiera, I think as a chief executive officer, incredible leader that you are, the Running Industry Diversity Council. Tell us for you, what was a moment that you similarly realized that sport could truly change lives and your own?
Yeah, it's good morning for me. And first I'll acknowledge I am a Black woman and I have a brown shirt on and I also have a big smile. And running changed for me back in 2011. A friend asked me to run a 5K and I said, absolutely not. I said, I have asthma, I'm in a bigger body, and I didn't think I could run. And they continued to encourage me, and some other folks continued to encourage me. So I did it. I did a walk run 5K. And after that, I felt incredible. I felt like I could do anything in the world. And then I continued running ever since then. And I've done every distance up to the marathon since that time. So I was like, anything is possible given that experience.
Up in that first 5K, who encouraged you to do it? A friend or a work colleague?
It was a friend who actually ended up being my co-founder for City Fit Girls, which was a run club we started in Philadelphia to help more women see themselves participate in running.
Amazing. And Emily, you're the incredible chief executive officer of Achilles International, doing great work around the world and certainly here in New York City. Please share the same. What was a moment when you realized that running really could be life-changing?
Thanks, Mary, and it's great to be here this morning with everyone. I'm Emily Glasser, as Mary said. I have brown hair, another big smile on this face, and a black T-shirt I'm wearing. That's actually an Achilles shirt. So I guess I trace it back to when I became a new parent, right? The start of parenthood, and there was a lot of anxieties and stress around that. And I think prior to that, running had been about maintaining a certain physical self. It was in that moment that I found community and also a way to de-stress, going back to running. And realizing that it was about so much more than just your body. It also was a way to, I guess, manage your mind. Fast forward to when I became a guide for the first time at Achilles International, and I was paired with a neurodivergent young man who was nonverbal, and seeing him consistently come week after week to Central Park, and finding connection, finding confidence, community, and a place where he truly felt he belonged, that was really powerful. So I think those two experiences, which have some sort of a common thread, were what, sort of the light bulb went off for me.
You're a big part of making this happen, Emily. We're here to celebrate diversity in running. I just talked to my leadership class yesterday about painting a picture of vision when they're leading. What does that really look like and feel like when a race or community truly get it right and they're celebrating diversity?
Well, I think, Mary, that none of us starts unless we see ourselves out there. And I think it's really important to have diverse representation. So, getting it right is making sure that we're speaking to all these different audiences, we're marketing to these different audiences, we're making sure that they know they belong. And it's demonstrates sort of the wide fabric of society and culture and this wonderful industry, which is all about independent mobility. You know, no matter how I get to the start line, no matter what it looks like, I'm getting there alongside you. And everyone has the capability to do that, and it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure that there's space, and that we're all grounding these spaces in belonging.
It's beautiful. And Martha, it is really hard to be a first. So I think Emily's right. We have to work really hard to make sure people feel, know of, see versions of themselves out there running. But people are going to have to be the first too sometimes. And so where have you seen diversity celebrated? And if you're if you feel singularly different from others in places in running, where have you felt they've gotten it right, where you felt like you belonged, even if you were different than others, as we all uniquely are, but to different degrees and in different ways relative to running?
En la comunidad y cómo te sientes para cómo podría ser la diversidad dentro de tu contexto, porque pues eres una persona pasiva.
Dentro del contexto, para mí la diversidad es muy amplia y lo que podemos hacer o seguimos haciendo es seguir trabajando para todos y todas.
The diversity, for me, the diversity it's very different, and it's very different, but it's amazing because we can do anything it's our like it's for us, for me, it's important because I see other disability person running with us. For me, it's amazing. Even I can see them.
Es muy importante que se siga visibilizando, que se siga haciendo estos conversatorios o estos webinars y incluir a todas las personas que tenemos alguna condición de discapacidad en el running. Es bien importante seguir haciendo esta inclusión para todos y todas.
I appreciate that you invite me because for me it's important that I represent all these people, and this webinar it's very, very important to be visibility all people with disabilities and women with disabilities, and I appreciate that you invite me.
Well, we appreciate you, and I'm so excited to cheer you on in person at the London Marathon this year. I know you're beginning your 4th World Marathon Major Star, so that is very exciting. And Kiera's going to be there too, right?
Yes, yo estoy muy emocionada, estoy muy contenta, nerviosa un poco, pero más emocionada con lograr ese maratón.
Yes, I am so excited. I'm very nervous, but I'm happy to go to London and to do my 4th marathon.
4th one, hooray, that's so exciting. Kiera, you have worked with races around the United States, around the world, and you've really been part of helping us all be even stronger and better. What does it really look like when a race and a community gets it right and people feel included and welcome?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, Martha, I'm clapping for you over here for your 4th marathon coming up. And what race events really get right is when they truly embed themselves in the communities that they're running through. I think New York is a really good example. I know there's many more, but I'll say I think New York is a really good example to run through all those boroughs and really connect with the communities through jobs, participation. So I would say the race events that really get it right are not just running through those areas, but they're also bringing those folks into the events, helping them produce the events, and helping them inform what to do with the events, in years to come. So.
I love that. When I was recently at New York Roadrunners, Eric Edward O'Neill, who heads people and culture and social responsibility there, was so thoughtful about even ordering lunch, where the vendors were local vendors, diverse vendors from caterers all over the city. And that was even an example of from big to small opportunities to always think about who else can we bring in from our community. So that's, I love the, concrete examples like that you suggested, especially jobs and participation. Volunteers are such a great base of finding your next employees and your next people you can give contracts to come be part of the event. And again, we can add diversity and make people really feel included in that way. So I love that. Each of you, yeah.
Can I add from deciding the caterer to deciding who gets the contract to be the announcer, who gets the contract to do all the setup and things like that. No matter how small or big those jobs or those opportunities are, they are all important and worth reassessing and ensuring that we are bringing more leadership, more women into those opportunities.
It's a great point. I think of India, Atlanta Track Club with Rich Connaught. As soon as there's so many, especially in the marathons, you need so many announcers and giving people the chance, and then they get to meet other people. Rodnell is, just did Running USA conference, but once it may feel small and it might feel you don't have a lot of money to bring an announcer in as an example, but paying something to bring somebody in, and then they get to meet other people who will see their skills and can use them at their other local races or conferences or others. And I think that's a really great one too, Kira. So thank you for that. Emily, anything else you want to add on this?
I think it's a great point to talk about how we integrate inclusion across all points of an event and along the journey. So, for our hope and possibility, and I know a lot of races are doing this as well, Braille on the back of a medal, right? All the way to making sure that you have someone signing the start and at the finish, providing and giving thought to all points along that race journey, and integrating accessibility and inclusion in all these different ways, including, as Kira points out, making sure that you're bringing people in through volunteer opportunities or through contracting opportunities and as vendors. So
love that. All the way to your registration providers. Make sure your digital too is built in a way that's inclusive and accessible, and there's guidelines around that for everybody. All of you have really pushed individual initiatives that have made a real difference, and in your organization's collective. So we thank you for that and ask you, where are we still falling short? Anyone want to jump in first?
I can, go ahead.
Go for it.
I can start. We're falling short in participation. We're falling short as much as more people are running. I guess did New York have 200-something thousand people for 50,000 spots? But like the participation is there, but then when we go, well, who makes up that participation? We're falling short, and we have this opportunity to go. Competition will always be core to running, and we want to bring more people, and we want to bring more amateur runners in. We want to bring more of those running enthusiasts. We want to bring the folks who are participating in the run clubs, or maybe they're on the outside of the run clubs looking
something
in.
in the Q&A,
how do
Mikey?
we bring those people in so that they can still participate in the industry for years to come, whether it's through working at a brand or running store or working with an athlete in some type of capacity. I was just telling someone recently that I was not part of running when I was growing up. There was no running program in my schools, and I did volleyball stint. But then when I got introduced to running, I've been participating in this industry for almost 20 years. And that counts. And so we want to show people that their participation counts in addition to the competitive nature of our sport. And so That's what's coming up for me. How do you get more people to enter the sport and stay when they're not competing, or how they can potentially even enter a new path to competition in some other way? So.
Love that participation in exactly volunteers, like that's active participation in what we're doing. But definitely, Martha, anything you want to add? I love those thoughts, Kiera, because we have so many more people to reach still. There's no question. 1 million people applied to London and 200, all the people applying, you're exactly right. All of us asking who and where, who is still not feeling welcome. Martha, any thoughts you want to add?
Es una gran oportunidad de poder participar en Londres. Es uno de los maratones más buscados por los running y para mí es algo significativo. Es mostrar que no importa mi edad, porque tengo 61 años, no importa la diversidad, no importa mi condición por la discapacidad visual y menos mi género. Todo es posible porque yo lo hago posible, porque yo quiero mostrar a las mujeres que las mujeres podemos hacer todo lo que nos propongamos para que podamos seguir representando el running con mucha dignidad y con mucho orgullo.
For me, it's very important to be part of London Marathon. I have 61 years old, so for me, I run to show all women to do it. And my experience of life is a testimony that everything is possible. And my way to participate is running. I run and I will run all the time. I love that. And I want to show all women that they can do it. They can do it too. Participate in London or whatever race they want to do.
Martha, we'd like to put you on video in the middle of Times Square because that's, thank you for encouraging everybody, because that is one of the very best ways that we can get more people running. We're, I think, in the most exciting time that we've,
I'm so sorry, I'm translating her.
Sorry.
¿Quieres decir algo más?
No lo sé. Es que estoy un poquito nerviosa.
I'm so sorry, I'm so nervous.
Porque es una gran oportunidad la que tenemos ahorita de estar aquí y de ir a Londres.
Because it's a great opportunity that I'm here with you in a webinar, international webinar. So sorry, I am so nervous.
Además, pues muchas personas creen que por mi edad ya no debería de correr, por mi condición ya no debería de estar haciendo nada, y yo quiero mostrar que sí se puede y que sí es posible todo con Achilles International.
Some people say that for my age I can't run, for my condition I can run, and I am very strong because I say I can do it, I am doing, and in 1 month I will go to London Marathon because everything is possible thanks to Achilles International.
Yeah.
For giving me that opportunity.
Thank you. And I think you're young, by the way, Martha. So like lots ahead. Chris, we clearly need an hour next time. We were just really at the warm up. There's so much more we'd like to share, but I hope seeing that
We're out of time already. You're saying 9:43 on there. Did we get that right?
That's unfortunately right. We're going to do a very quick sprint to the finish. And what I hope everybody does is follow Kiera, follow Emily, follow Martha, as the inspirations they are, as leaders, as runners. And I know everybody wants to help
We've got that right,
really make this a stronger industry, and by welcoming more people and truly give everyone that sense of belonging that I know so many of us have been so fortunate to feel and experience. So our final sprint, give me one area that each of you have seen of innovation, in real progress that gives you real hope for an even better, stronger organization going forward. Emily.
So we've been really, really gratified to see a lot of corporate sponsors. I'm going to highlight Bank of America, telling the stories of athletes with disabilities, including, veterans with disabilities participating in Chicago and Boston. And I think that talking the talk is great, and we all just have to keep walking the walk. So
Beautiful. Kiera.
Yes, I'm like, for RADC, and I just put our website in the chat. We actually just shared our newsletter this week was who gets to be a trail runner. And in
You've been
that,
giving
we
Mary
talk
prompts
a lot
because she's starting to
about
wrap up already, and
a
we've still got
program that
8
we just
minutes.
did called Freedom to Run Back
Has she been-
Outside, where we took
Mary's
14
kind of
runners
starting to wrap. Has
who
she been
never
getting the
experienced
time
trail
prompts?
running. We gave them 6 months of coaching, access to nutrition
Okay,
guidance,
maybe just pop one
access to
into it, just
gear,
say 8
and
minutes
some
left.
other resources to go, how do we
Please.
get you to participate in this sport, and how do we get you to stay?
Or maybe
And
put
so
it 7 minutes left.
progress for us is seeing what the barriers are, knowing what the barriers have been for a long time, and seeing what we can do to help mitigate some of those barriers for some folks. So this introduction to trail running program is an example. We also do a scholarship to the running event to help more people see themselves as part of the business on the business side of the industry and build that networking connection. And so programs like that exist to help alleviate those barriers. And so more programs like that will always just help us reach more people, bring more people into the sport.
Love that. It's a reminder to all of us to always ask what barriers might be, because it's not always clear to us. And if we don't know, we're not going to help people get over them. So I love that, Kiera. That program sounds amazing. Martha.
En este mundo donde existe tanta discriminación, indiferencia, mi testimonio me pone muy feliz y quiero que la gente se entere que todo es posible, que todo se puede, porque tú lo haces posible, porque tenemos que cambiar ese concepto de tú como mujer no puedes, tú por tu edad no puedes. Hay que cambiarlo, hay que modificarlo. Y mi testimonio es una gran experiencia para muchas personas en que todo es posible.
In this world, the discrimination, it's very bad. And for my experience, I am happy when my testimonies prove that women can achieve whatever we set up our minds to. Doesn't matter the gender, the age, or the condition. If I can do it, you can do it.
I can't think of a better way to close. I'd love to hear more from all of you ladies. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you do day in and day out.
Okay.
Incredible leadership, and we appreciate it. We're better off for it. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for joining. It's just the start of a conversation. Let's keep it going. And thanks so much, Chris, for having us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mary and Kiera, Emily, Martha, and Rodriguez in the background doing the translation. What a wonderful conversation, and a couple of key takeaways. I love I think it was from Emily, none of us start unless we see ourselves out there. What a wonderful observation, and so important as we create these opportunities across our events in this time of growing participation. I think the theme for tonight is lots of smiles. So many smiles on that panel, and I'm sure we're going to have plenty more. Martha, so inspired by you, and there's two amazing linkages for me here. One, I'm going to be in London and look forward to meeting you in person. And two, I've been incredibly fortunate to have been in this industry for over 40 years now, and one of my absolute highlights was being the co-founder of the Achilles chapter in Sydney about 25 years ago, and I used to absolutely love going out around the Royal Botanic Gardens and the Opera House as a pilot with blind runners there, and it's just incredible to see how Achilles continues to make this incredible impact across the globe. So let's make a date, we'll connect, we'll catch up and see you in London. But again, a very big thank you again, Mary, Kiera, Emily, Martha, and Rodriguez for the translation there. As we move on to our next segment for the night, one which I'm delighted to be hosting, Juggling on the Run, Racing, Parenting, and Building a Global Business. Really delighted to welcome Kelly McClay. She's the founder and CEO of Fitness International Travel. Big welcome, Kelly. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
What a wonderful story. I was fortunate to meet you just literally 2 weeks ago. Mike Nishi introduced us in Tokyo at the Tokyo Marathon, and as we had the conversation, it seemed such a great idea to bring you on the show. What a journey that we're going to share in the next 20 minutes or so. Tell us, I mean, a mother of three, building a business, running marathons, and if I've got it right, you've run 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days, not once, but twice. You're an Abbott 6-star runner. You've done many other things on the road. You've built this business that celebrated its 10th anniversary, and you've raised 3 children. What motivated you? What was the seed that got this started?
Oh, well, thank you, Chris. It was so wonderful to meet you in Tokyo, and I've just landed back from that journey. And the marathon just really changed my life. It was so impactful in getting me, out of a really tough area. I think it's a wonderful way to really show what type of stamina you have as an individual. And as I ran more marathons, it just changed my life. And my family and my father worked for the airline, so I grew up traveling. And I think the combination of those, my passions just became my profession. And the company is 10 years old. My oldest is 9. So I truly feel like this journey was, birthing a company and, birthing all my children during this way. So I think it really grew out of just loving what the marathon brought forward in myself, how I saw other people tackling these beautiful goals, and just wanting to do something that I absolutely loved. I don't believe you work a day in your life if you really enjoy what you're doing. And so really it became as a passion project, and it's turned into such a global experience, hence meeting you last weekend in Tokyo.
Yeah, aren't we so lucky in this industry? And I think you speak for many where we're lucky that we live our passion. Sure, there's challenging times, but we have so many incredible experiences. So talk to us a little bit about those early years. So you started the business 10 years ago. Your oldest was born a year later. What was it like juggling all 3? And I'm assuming you were running at the same time. I mean, tell us when you ran the 7x7s within that journey, and a little bit about that juggling those multiple balls in those early stages.
Yeah, I mean, the early stages are, was roll up your sleeves and, dig a trench. And I remember taking calls, maybe nursing a small baby, and just, I think sometimes it's difficult being, a mom and bringing that forward in the industry or in the world professionally. And I just really leaned into it. It was where I was at, and I was pregnant twice on these tours abroad, through COVID, and it was just a wonderful journey. And our clients were so receptive to it. I think it was really refreshing seeing a mom, and if she can do it, maybe I can do it. But there was a lot of juggling. I might have had a baby on a hip, and sometimes I was emailing maybe from the hospital. And I think you just do what you need to do. Like I said, I did love it as well. And so the children have just been really, my family has been part of this. And I think it's helped, groom that what we do abroad, that it really is a family that we're building with our clients. I don't know sometimes when I look back, how it's happened. I think as runners, we sometimes don't know how we're going to make it to that finish line, but we keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I did the 777 when my first baby was just a year old. And there wasn't much time for training in the normal sense of what someone would look at as training. But I thought, well, I'm trained for the spontaneity of this race adventure. I'm trained for the no sleep of this adventure. And, my body has run a lot of miles. So I didn't have necessarily the miles under my belt, but I had the resilience and the mindset. And then the second time I managed to do the 777 was after my third child, and she was a year old as well. And it's just been magic to get the opportunity to be at so many of these start lines.
Amazing. So let's unpack that one a little bit. You said you hadn't done much training. When we spoke in Tokyo, I think you said you didn't start out life as a runner, and you kind of almost fell into this by accident. So talk about the falling into the running by accident, and then what was the seed that was planted to start the business? You identified a gap in the market, a friend gave you an idea, it was something that came to mind yourself. How did that all start?
Yeah, so that first marathon, when I started, I played team sports, and I wasn't used to this running on your own. I actually had a sheer distaste for running. It was the training I did for basketball or for soccer. And when I had received a medical diagnosis, that, I had gone through menopause very early, and I was at a point where I needed a big goal, and I needed something that felt like impossible. And I couldn't run a mile when I first set out. I mean, my sister was training for the Boston Marathon, and I tried to keep up with her, and I couldn't. And so she patiently waited for me, but I thought I could just go and run this 5K, and I couldn't make it the mile. I was breathing hard, and I didn't last. And so it seemed impossible. And so when I hit that first marathon and knew that I could do it and challenged myself, it sort of opened the door for other opportunities. And I had I'd worked in educational travel. I had been in the marathon sport industry for a while. I left and had worked for Spartan Race, and that marathon just stayed with me. And I saw a gap in the market. I didn't see a lot of female representation. There was only one major company in this sector, and I wanted to create something that had passion and care and community, and was more of a boutique experience, and that really resonated with women, with moms, and showed people that there was opportunity, that you can still keep having your dreams. You can still run the world. You can still see the world, and you can hit these big finish lines. And so I think the combination of fit, I knew I wanted to do it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I closed a 401k and sort of, bootlegged it, and here we are.
Amazing. So let's talk about getting to that finish line. As you run the marathon, there's lots of ups and downs, both figuratively, mentally, and in the course. Talk to us a little bit about the real hills that you've overcome in this 10 years. What have been some of the biggest challenges, and what might the lessons from those be for those that are sitting here in the audience that might have started a business, that are entrepreneurs, because this industry is made up of entrepreneurs, and we all go through these challenges. But what are some of the keys that you would give as some tips for entrepreneurs that are doing it tough, and how you push through them, and maybe some examples that you might have to share?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I still am facing obstacles. I think as you grow, you just continue to learn more. I really use the marathon as a great metaphor for this, because the start is great and exciting, and then in the middle, you really have to grind it out, and through those heavy middle miles, those are your working miles. That's how I always look at them. And then there's the end that sort of seems like your hang on miles. And then somehow you reach the finish line. And so I use that in any obstacle that I face. It can feel really awkward and uncomfortable, but I know that if I just keep stepping forward, I'm going to get to the finish line of that obstacle. And each time has created, I said, oh, wow, look at what I did there. And so in the beginning, I use that resilience. So anytime I'm in a situation, I just keep putting one foot in front of the other. So that's one. It will, you could get knocked down. I had a lot of closed doors, and I just keep showing up and being who we are, representing Fit really well, representing our clients. And so I would say, just keep showing up, just keep taking that step forward. If there's a no, I've heard several no's. And here we are today. And so that's the resilience thing in the marathon is fabulous. I think the other thing is to, like in the marathon, use the crowd. The spectators are always cheering you on. And they provide such a great support, not only for you as a runner, but use your village. If I don't know something, just like this call today, there are so many successful and skilled and talented, not only women out there, but partners in the industry. And there are helpers. And so I need help. I want to learn from them. I want to learn from people in the industry. And so reaching out to them has been a fabulous resource, and lending a hand. I've often run with runners. That turns into another opportunity. I said hello. I showed up for the panel last week and met you, Chris. I've worked with Emily at Achilles, and so I think this community that we have here is the third point. Is that runners and people in this industry are truly passionate about what we do. And I think collectively together, this has been a theme about, rising tides. Everyone can help build someone else, or lend a hand, or run with someone, or guide them. And that's been a great opportunity. So those are probably my three pillars. In the obstacles, is that metaphor of how we get to the finish line of any 26.2.
Love it. Use the crowd, and we do have an amazing crowd here in our industry, and so much support. Let's come back to plenty of sacrifices along the way, and I would imagine that some of those sacrifices would have related to your family, spending time away from the family. But then you also shared that, I think the term that you used was, what did you say? They are your chief... what do you call the children? Your chief motivational officers. Chief motivational officers. So you've had times where you've missed out, no doubt, as any parent in a business does. But you've then managed to work a way to ensure that often the kids are on the road with you. They're having those kind of experiences. Talk about that a little bit from your own perspective, but also from the parents that are on the call. How sometimes I think we think it's too hard to take the kids on the road. We had this conversation in Tokyo. I've got an 11-year-old boy, and he comes with us as often as we can because I see travel as one of the best educators. But how did you manage that? I've got one, you've got three. How do you manage to weave that into your life?
It's juggling, right? That's the theme of this. Look, I think it's important for me to show them that they can chase big goals. It's important for me to expose them to other cultures and communities. It is hard to leave. I was just on a big stint, and when I came back, they were saying, "Mom, don't do that again," or so it's not, they are impacted as well. But we also talked about where I was, what I was doing, what language. I taught them arigato gozaimasu this morning, so to thank the guide that gave them little gifts that I could bring back. We have great relationships around the world with our guides, our partners, and so I'm bringing back little snippets of those experiences, that the world is bigger than just where we live. And I think it's so important to encourage them to chase big dreams, that they see that I'm out there running the world and meeting all these other cultures. I think also one time my friends were laughing, like, "You're flying with your 3 kids back from Australia on your own?" And to me, it's all in perspective. That's a lot different than flying with 200 clients and managing and making sure that they get to the start line of something very important to them, which is much more stressful to me than my 3 kids on a plane. So I think it's all in perspective, and I think you have to try it, because the end game, kids are really resilient, like marathon runners, and they really ease into it. They've grown up alongside the company. They've run 5Ks with me. They're curious. And I just think, many parents might think that they need to choose between the big goals and being present for their kids. It is hard. It's not easy. And I cry often when I leave them, but I give them a huge hug, and we talk, and I show them where I am. My little 4-year-old said that's the Eiffel Tower the other day. So to know that they have these experiences and that they're learning by watching what I'm doing, I really think we can do this, and we can juggle these things, and we can still have big goals, not only for ourselves but for them.
Wonderful. And so with that, you know, parents on this call that might have these big ambitions, what would be the one piece of advice you would give them? Big ambitions, but children, managing that balance. Would there be one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's saying, well, I'm not prepared to make that sacrifice, it's too hard? Would there be any one particular piece of advice?
I am always about just try. Before you rule it out with 10 reasons, there's so many reasons to not do something. And just try. Dip your foot in it, see how it goes. You take one step, 2 steps, you might be on that plane. You know, maybe you're not flying to Australia, but maybe this gives you the courage to pack up your kid in a backpack and fly to, you know, if you're in the US, Florida, or somewhere really close, and give it a try. They'll surprise you. You might really be surprised. So rather than ruling it out, just try.
Great one. Love it. So let's fast forward 10, 20 years. What's the legacy of Fitness International Travel? You've built this amazing global community. You've taken your kids on the journey. Sometimes I think we get caught up so much in the kind of here and now and being on that treadmill without taking the time to look down the road and say, well, what's the legacy that I want to leave? What will I be proud of? What impact am I creating? What do you see the legacy being?
For me, I think the legacy is that we've really impacted people's lives. And, you know, quite often people think it's just about the race, but when we're there and people are vulnerable, and, you know, women, I want a place for everyone on our programs, but especially for women. I noticed such a change in just one weekend, that they've crossed a border on their own, that they have a safe place to be. And so I think the future for me is to just have this space that continues to thrive, represent women, break down borders. I mean, I know that sounds grandiose, but we really are. Running creates such a universal language. And, you know, for my kids, that you can work hard and you can do things that you love and really give back to the greater world that we're a part of. And so the legacy for FIT would be to just keep running the world together.
Amazing. We've got 2 minutes left. Final question. You don't necessarily need to name a name, but you've clearly had many inspirational, transformational experiences in women's lives. Is there something that stands out, one incredible story to leave? This has been so inspiring and motivating anyway, but is there one particular story that you can inspire the audience with?
Oh, we have so many finish lines that we have celebrated. We've had Achilles runners on our programs, blind runners, women that were scared to, you know, go international for the first time. And I think the greatest thing is that after the weekend, they say, you know, I can do this on my own now. I can go off and I can do it on my own. Last year we had a woman that was older, and she missed the cutoffs of the Tokyo Marathon, which is challenging. And she was heartbroken. She got pulled probably at the 37K. And so she was very close to the finish line. And we gave her a hug, you know, at the end, and we said, you're going to come back. Like, you know, revenge on the course is such a great motivator. And she came back the next year. We talk about the 9 cutoffs that she needs to get through, and she was determined. She did everything on her focus to get through it. And when she came across that finish line, there was no greater sense of celebration for her than us welcoming her back with that medal. And I just think it's a testament to that nothing is restrictive and you can get through these obstacles, and that age is not a factor as well. I think that she was, I probably shouldn't disclose, but she was definitely in her late 60s. And I think we've had mothers and daughters, a 72-year-old this year. We've had women running on the trails in Africa. And there's so many things to celebrate. The stories are all important of why everyone's getting to this finish line.
Brilliant. The stories are so important. A couple of key takeaways for me. Couldn't run a mile when you started. That means that there's no excuse for any of us to start somewhere, and that led on to you just keep showing up, putting one foot in front of another. The opportunities to inspire your children and future generations by giving them a chance to see the world and educating them. So wonderful to chat, Kelly. Look forward to seeing you in London, hopefully. Thank you so much for making the time, and I'm sure you've inspired many again tonight.
Thank you, Chris. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. Moving from one inspiration to another, the next segment is a pre-recorded segment. I'm sure you're going to find this incredibly inspiring. It's titled Beating Cancer, Conquering My First 42 Ks. We're going to hear from an amazing woman, Raquel Castanjaro. She's a marathoner, she's a breast cancer patient, she's a physiotherapist, and she's the founder of Viva Corrida, joining us by recorded video from Brazil. Sit back and watch this for the next few minutes.
Last year, I decided to run my first marathon, and 17 days before race day, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. The doctors told me that 17 days wouldn't make a difference to my treatment, and the decision to run was up to me. So I ran. I could say the main reason was to show cancer who is in charge, or to send some big message to the world, but honestly, the truth is, I didn't want to waste the 16 weeks I had spent training. All those Saturday mornings, long runs, running miles and miles like a crazy person would be for nothing, so I ran. People ask me if it was mentally very hard, if my mind was somewhere else during the race, and actually no. I ran the Rio de Janeiro Marathon, and I don't know if you know it, but Rio is a very beautiful city. So when I got there, I wasn't a patient thinking about chemo and surgery anymore. I was just another runner running my first marathon. And it was one of the most beautiful days I've ever experienced, and also one of the hardest, of course. After that, I went through 5 months of chemo, a mastectomy, and 16 sessions of radiation therapy. The last one was today, March 11. During all this time, I kept running, I kept moving. Physical activity reduces the side effects of cancer treatment, lowers the risk of recurrence, and improves survival. But unfortunately, in a country like Brazil and in many others, having the time and the safety to be physically active is still a privilege, especially for women. For example, because of my treatment, I cannot run in the sun, and running alone at night isn't safe. I'm fortunate to have access to a gym with a treadmill, but that is not the reality for most people. I have 2 kids, Gabriel, who is 9, and Cecilia, who is 6. I have a support network that helps me share childcare and household responsibilities. But again, that is not the reality for many women who still face a double workload, often carrying the responsibilities of work, home, and children, largely on their own. So how can a woman with no time, no support, who doesn't feel safe, have access to the same benefits of running that helped me during my treatment? We will still have a lot more to do as a society. I'm a physical therapist in Brazil. I run a nationally known running clinic, and I create online content for over 600,000 followers. The main barrier I hear for women who want to run is this: I don't feel safe running alone. And this is not just anecdotal. A 2023 study by Adidas called Ridiculous Run surveyed 9,000 runners across 9 countries and found that 92% of women reported concerns about their safety while running. Half of them, 71%, said they were afraid of being physically attacked, compared to 28% of men. Everyone says that physical activity is good for health, but far few people recognize that having the time, safety, and opportunity to exercise is still a privilege for many people, especially for women. So my question for you is, what are we going to do about it? Thank you.
What an amazing and inspiring segment there. And the question, what are we going to do about it? So much more to do. I think many of us on this call may have our challenge, but we're incredibly privileged relative to many others. Some of you may be aware actually that in December at MPW 27, we launched Mass Participation Vision 2050. And one of the bold objectives of that is to try and get 1 billion more people moving by 2050. And if anyone's interested in getting access to that document, it's ongoing and evolving. And it's a program that's starting to roll out with the formation of working groups and the support of World Athletics and the UCI, TCS, World Federation of Sporting Goods Industry, and many other partners. So we're delighted to sow the seed and see if we can make an even bigger impact through this incredible industry that we're part of. And someone who's clearly making impact in that state is World Athletics, and we're going to hear next from Benjamin Roux, who's going to share another impact opportunity, which is the World Athletics Global Running Conference coming up in Copenhagen. Welcome, Benjamin, who is the road running manager at World Athletics. Hi, Benjamin.
Yes, hi, Chris. Hello to everybody. It will not be as inspirational as any of the previous speakers, what I'm about to present to you. Just to give a quick description of myself, I'm 30 years old and I'm a Caucasian French guy. I'm wearing World Athletics Blue Navy shirt, which is the edition we got for Paris 2024. And I was born in Paris, so I really, really like this shirt. Let me share my screen with you so that we can dive into the Global Running Conference. Up. Perfect. So, but just before that, yes, I just wanted to bring my small contribution to today's theme about women in running, which is this amazing documentary that is available on YouTube. If you scan this QR code, you'll get access to it. Jasmine Paris is the first woman who finished the Barclays Marathons, which is known as one of the world's hardest race. And she finished it a few years ago, and this tells the war story about motherhood and how women in sports can achieve basically anything. So I would strongly recommend you to watch this. Okay, so a quick presentation, a quick commercial break now to present to you the 2026 Global Running Conference. The objective of this conference that is hosted by us, World Athletics, as at every World Running Championships, is to bring together member federations, host cities, race organizers, brands, commercial partners, anybody that is making the world of road running together for a few days and discuss what's going on in the industry and trying to get inspired by a lot of stories from our people that make road running such a great environment. So for this year, we are doing this in Copenhagen on the 17th and 18th of September. So we have an official kickoff at the Copenhagen City Hall with the local authorities, the Copenhagen City Mayor, the Lord Mayor will be there. And the afternoon will be dedicated to race management workshops, so you will get opportunities to be in an interactive environment with organizers and representatives from the road running industry to share experiences and best practices about what makes a race a good one. Then on Friday, we move on to the main conference day, which will be at the Axel Borg Hall in the Tivoli Gardens. We have keynote speakers, we have panel discussions, case studies from leading road running events around the world. This is basically the main day to be there. If you have one day to be, it's this one. And then the main advantage of doing this conference is the timing, because the Saturday and Sunday you'll be able to take part to the World Athletics Road Running Championships. We have 3 events: the mile, the 5K, the half marathon. There's opportunities to race in one of the mass races if you join us as part of the Global Running Conference. I've left some information regarding the conference fees, but we have limited capacity. The total capacity for the conference is 300 seats. So make sure you manifest your interest if you want to join us in Copenhagen. I've left on the QR code access to my mailbox if you want to send interest. If you're part of the road running environment of World Athletics and that you already receive communications from us, you will receive in the next days links to register to this conference with the website, the full program, the speakers that will be announced in the coming days. And otherwise, just shoot me an email and then I will gladly share with you any links or information you need regarding this conference. And we look forward to seeing you there. And hopefully, Chris, will see you there too.
Thank you, Benjamin. I'm looking forward to joining you in Copenhagen. Sorry, am I on? Sorry, a little pause there, Benjamin. Thank you. Great to see you, and very much looking forward to seeing you in Copenhagen. I know I'm going to be sharing more of Vision 2050 there, and looking forward to catching up with people from the industry. And we'll make sure that we share those slides and the QR code so people can register through there and watch that amazing movie as well.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you, everyone, for participating to this amazing webinar. See you soon.
Cheers, Benjamin. Thanks so much. Hugely excited, so much excitement already today, but certainly one of the real high points and real privileges of tonight's session is to be able to welcome Paula Radcliffe to the screen to join us. Hello, Paula. Just about to come on. Hi, Paula.
Hi, Chris. Hello.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for making the time to be with us tonight. I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation here over the next 20 minutes or so. I guess really you need no introduction, but I'm going to give a little snapshot. Widely regarded as one of the greatest marathon runners ever, 16 years of a world record, and importantly, amazing experiences on the road, but also off the road. The impact that you had on women's running, the inspiration that you've had to get millions of young and older women and of course men out running through your achievements during your career. But maybe let's rewind back to the start. How did it all start? How did you get motivated to get out on the road, and what was the genesis of you becoming a marathon runner?
I think, well, the genesis of the journey to the marathon was long in terms of getting into running. I do now look back and just kind of be grateful for how fortunate I was to find athletics early. I think when I was 9, we're talking in the 80s, early 80s, there weren't that many different sports clubs available. I had a friend who was a member of the local athletics club. It just so happened that local athletics club for me was Frodsham Harriers in the UK. And there was a guy called George Bunner there who actually developed sports hall athletics and the turnaround boards for us to train on indoors during the winter. And he was already coaching Olympic 100-meter hurdler in Shirley Strong. So I was kind of exposed to watching those early Olympic Games in 1984 through a clubmate, and following on there, vividly remember the Zola Budd, Mary Decker-Slaney clash, which of course was the 3,000 meters, and Joni winning the marathon, and the inaugural marathon. And that, for me, I don't think I realized in 1984 that was the first time. Honestly, as a young girl, I just assumed that girls were able to do as much as boys. I'm extremely fortunate. My dad brought me up in a way that there was never anything my brother did that I thought I was unable to do. And within athletics, I'm extremely grateful that I see that gender equality has really not been non-existent. Gender inequality has been non-existent for me through my career, and that's thanks to those trailblazers before, in the form of Joni, Ingrid Christensen, Greta Weitz, who are huge idols of mine, but before that, Bobby Gibb and Catherine Switzer, and the work that they did in ensuring that women could step up to and run the marathon. And now when I see the participation, it fills me with pride that we are close to hitting parity at major marathons, kind of male-female. And athletics has led the way in terms of sport, gender equality.
Fantastic. So take us through. You said it was a fairly long journey. Take us through that progression from that that first time down at the track to ultimately becoming such a great marathon runner?
In terms of that, I think honestly it was fun all the way through. The reason that I wanted to join the club was because I enjoyed running. I loved the way it made me feel. I was lucky in that the support team around me, my parents, my family, my friends, and certainly my coaches really encouraged that, enjoying it first all the way through. And when I look back now, I feel extremely lucky to have had my career essentially doing my hobby. And it remained fun, and I think that was really, really important. I was someone who, whenever I did something, I wanted to do it as well as I possibly could. But at the same time, I think I was able to retain that sense of being really lucky to be doing what I would be doing anyway as my job. And yes, pushing myself a little bit harder, but enjoying that process. And then, yeah, it was a long process through to the marathon, even though one of the key moments for me still goes back to 1985. And I was watching my dad take part in the London Marathon. I was stood at the side of the road waiting for him to come by, and I saw Ingrid Christensen come by en route to setting a world record that day that stood for 13 years. And I was just blown away by everything that day, the atmosphere, the camaraderie, the spirit of the London Marathon, and just one day wanted to be able to run like that. So I guess it's kind of been a journey to see, A, how good I could be, and keep enjoying it, and also just kind of try and stretch myself to see what I was capable of achieving.
Amazing, those inspirational moments that carry you along. You said you always make sure that you have fun, but the reality is that there's probably are times which are not so fun. So, you know, maybe not a specific moment, but, you know, some tips for pushing through those not so fun times for those who are watching. And I think, you know, not just talking about on the road, but off the road. You know, we all have challenges in different parts of life. But what makes you what's your methodology for making sure you keep being able to refocus on having fun?
I think perspective is a really strong one. And for many of us, whatever level of sport you're involved at, and certainly within running, that first injury is a real perspective setter in terms of you might resent some of those runs when you're tired, when it's raining outside and you're not really motivated to get out and get the training done, or you have a bad race and that motivation drops a little bit. But the minute something you love doing and that's a part of your life is taken away from you, you appreciate it that much more. And so I think that for me was a big thing. The first injury, the first race not going according to plan, and then big races not going according to plan, big championships, Olympic Games falling apart. And you realize that for many of us within running, and certainly for me, my healing mechanism, my coping mechanism is to go for a run, to kind of reconnect with myself that way, to reconnect with what's important to me, and to kind of get that perspective back in order. So that for me is kind of the key to, I think, in any walk of life, in any business, but particularly in sport. The minute you kind of reassert those perspectives of what's important to me and what's not, you're able to kind of get back on that journey to enjoying what you do and getting the best out of yourself through enjoying what you do.
So that perspective, yeah, it's tough, I'm injured, but I can still run, I can still get out there. It's not all bad. I might have missed the goal, but there's this perspective that I can still get out. Yeah.
And also that at the end of the day, it's sport, it's running, it's not the be all and end all. I mean, one of the biggest lessons to me was when I had my first the biggest injury that threatened my career when I was 19, and I was told I might not be able to run again. I went home in tears to my dad, and the physios told me I might not be able to run again. And he just turned around and said, well, look, millions of people go through life and they don't run. I said, yeah, but I'm not millions of people and I need to get back. The next thing he did was took me to the cinema to watch Schindler's List. And that gave me a huge dose of perspective, because it isn't life and death. It is just meant to be fun. And if you kind of take the pressure off, often you can find a way to get back to being able to enjoy it. So that's what I mean. It's kind of retaining that sense of perspective. Yes, it's the be all and end all. At the time we're there on the start line of the Olympic Games, in actual fact, it's not. It's not the biggest thing in life. And I think having that perspective helped.
Amazing. So you've spoken a few times about your dad, and I think the key is having mentors and people to be able to take us on that journey and support it and give us perspective. Any others in the journey that have been so important to you?
Oh, wow. I think so many people to list. I mean, I talked about Joan Benoit Samuelson right at the beginning. I think she's someone that really leads kind of by example, and she's still out there. She's still running whenever she can do. She still organizes her own events. She's still very much involved in the sport and inspiring people to do that. So I think she's been a huge role model. My coach is Alex and Rosemary Stanton from the beginning, absolutely taught me to aim for my goals, but also keep that sense of perspective. And I think when I see youngsters coming through now, I'm extremely grateful for their long-term vision, that they didn't want me to be to the best junior. They wanted me to be the best that I could in the senior and have the longest career. So not overtraining as a youngster, keeping that fun element and working instead on kind of getting the intensity over volume at that age, I think was really important for the longevity of my career. My family around me, my husband, my kids have been a huge role in all of that. And going back further than that, my grandma was just a huge inspiration for me, just for her outlook on life, and just kind of, if you don't get there the first time, keep trying to find another way around it, make sure that you're true to yourself and you stand up for what you believe in.
Wonderful. Can we maybe just double click on that a little bit? So family and coaches, but as you've moved into the next phase of your life beyond, obviously you still run, but you know, your career in broadcast and other things you do, how have you transitioned in terms of people around you to support you in that phase?
Oh, wow. I guess I've kind of, again, found myself in an extremely privileged and fortunate position in that I get to now still make my career and my job being involved with a sport that I love. And yes, commentating, it's kind of learning a new skill. And to begin with, I wasn't very good. I had to learn really quickly. And I'm extremely grateful for the team that I had around me there, particularly at the BBC, and the likes of Steve Cram, Brendan Foster in the beginning, and now Andrew Cotter, top broadcasters who've kind of been able to pass that on to me. A lot of work with Tim Hutchins as well, and that's kind of helped to bring through that experience. I also have a podcast that we've just started this year with Chris Thompson in Paula's Run Club, and we're really trying to grow that community aspect, because for me it's the most beautiful thing about road running is the strength of that community. I think we really genuinely are the only sport that will get now touching 60,000 people on the streets, largely going through the same emotions, running over the same course, and essentially all completing the same event on the same day. And there is a huge strength of community in that. So I love being a part of that. And yes, it takes organisation. And I think as previous speakers today have spoken, as a mother as well, when you have kids getting involved in the sport, that's another ball to juggle thrown in there. But it all adds to a great variety of life and a lot of fun while we're doing it.
Wonderful, amazing community. You're so right. So you use the word perspective a fair number of times. Let's get a perspective around the evolution of the marathon from a women perspective, and you know, where it's come from and where it's got to now and where you see it going. We spoke about parity in terms of gender in events, but what's your perspective of where it's going and what work there is still to be done?
I think it's going in a great direction, and I think we first of all have to kind of applaud, like I said before, where we're at. I think now there are very few women in the Western world out there who will think, okay, I can't go and run a marathon. It probably is the last event in terms of the marathon to reach parity, as compared with the 10K, the 5K, the park runs and the half marathons, just because of the fact that women are trying to juggle families and careers with that time to train, and the marathon requires a bigger time commitment to be able to get to that. So I think that's the reason there, but I still think the focus needs to be on other areas of the world where young girls are not able to, there are more social barriers, religious barriers for them to be able to take part in sports. So I'm thinking, aside from the current issues going on there, but areas in the Middle East where women, and particularly young girls, the avenues are not open for them to get into sport as much. And there are huge areas of the world where it's a social reason as well. Running doesn't cost a lot, but there still are cost implications. And so I think for the poorer areas of society, there still needs to be that support and that encouragement to get not just young girls, but anybody, young kids involved into sport.
Yeah, that real opportunity to get them started young, lay that foundation,
Yeah.
and all the health and well-being benefits that come with it. And we saw that research on the video in terms of people feeling unsafe in Brazil. I think so often we can
Yeah.
take for granted in many markets that it's pretty easy to do, but it can be pretty challenging in others. So you spoke earlier about when we were planning for this, protecting women in sport. Just a quick touch on that as well, the integrity of the sport for women.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is important. And again, I hugely applaud World Athletics for kind of taking the forefront of that and in standing up for the rights of women within sports. The body is different to the male body for lots of physical reasons. And I think the groundbreaking steps that World Athletics took in terms of protecting that female sport for females is really, really important. We have to keep that playing field as level as possible and as fair as possible. And they've taken a lot of steps in doing that and led the way and come in for a fair bit of flack in doing so. But I think the majority of female athletes will thank them for having done that.
Yeah, and then that opportunity, maybe segue from there, is this opportunity to create change. We saw, the touch on how do we get more people involved in other parts of the world. Any particular programs that you've seen that are particular around that are doing an amazing job in terms of creating change using running as a platform?
Oh, wow. I mean, there are so many. I work with Peace and Sport in Monaco, and we have seen videos about lots of different initiatives all over the world, kind of from the favelas in Brazil to, in fact, what the New York Roadrunners do around their marathon in terms of just encouraging kids into sport. I mean, really, I think it's about opening those doors for people, giving them that first introduction, that first capacity to take part in our sport. Then it may not be the sport for everybody, but if you get the opportunity to try it, you discover if it's something that can bring something to you. And I think those programs that help encourage kids that have never had the opportunity to set foot on an athletics track and see what happens there, or to take part in a road run, they're really, really important, and it's just keeping those open as much as possible.
And so continuing with that theme, you mentioned earlier that the support that you had around you was very focused on giving you the opportunity to be the best you could be, rather than, for example, the best junior. What advice would you give to parents that are listening around this, taking their children on this journey without pushing them too early and giving them the opportunity to be the best that they can be, if that's where they aim to go?
Sorry, it broke up just a little bit during there. I didn't hear the full question.
Okay, let's go back to that. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you spoke about the fact that you were surrounded by an amazing group of people that gave you the opportunity to be the best you could be, rather than, for example, push you to be the best junior. And we see sometimes, I see sort of almost two different schools here. I see sport in the UK now where parents are banned because the research shows that the kids just want to have fun and they don't need any pressure. And I think there was some research that came out of Norway's medal haul in the Olympics and in the Winter Olympics about just letting them have fun. But some advice from what you learnt on that journey of yours for parents that are listening, for events that have got kids events attached to them, and there's more and more events that see the value of kids events. But how do we create that pathway that gives those kids the best opportunity, not necessarily to be a Paula Radcliffe, but to embrace running as health and well-being and everything else?
I think the balance, it is tough, and you have to make sure that you get a balance in that. First and foremost, no child has ever succeeded because their parents wanted them to. It's when they love it. So I think parents have to recognize that. It's the support of being there, being the taxi, driving them backwards and forwards to training, giving them that hug when it doesn't go according to plan, kind of teaching them that life is about that. Life is about knockbacks. It can't all be fun. And I think kids do need to understand it. Pressure comes with everything in life. But the biggest pressure really comes from yourself. So I think it's teaching them that sport in particular is really a vehicle where they can kind of take it to the level that they want. And for kids, it's really important that they understand it's their sport. This is what I'm doing. This is for me. And I can do it just for fun if that's what I want to do. And I have every right to turn around to my parents and say, I only want to do it for fun. If I want to take it to the top level, then it is about protecting, I think, those kids, because a child who's 16, 17 doesn't see that their body's still developing. They don't see the long term. They only compare themselves with other 16, 17-year-olds at that age. And you're right, the disparity is huge, not just in terms of kids going through puberty and the different levels that they're at, the times that they hit them. There are kids that are training twice a day, and there are kids that are training 3 times a week. And it's getting that balance right. And I don't know what is the right answer. I kind of look back for my own kids on what I did growing up. And as I said, my coach was a big believer in the intensity first. So yeah, you run as hard as you can in training once a day before you get to twice a day. And you really shouldn't be doing that, in my opinion, until you're kind of hitting that. You're out the other side of puberty and you're 18, 19, 20.
Wonderful. So that kind of measured approach, not pushing them too early. And the point that you made very early on, making sure it continues to be fun and you enjoy yourself. Yeah. Paula, last question. We're almost out of time. What excites you most about what you see in the industry now? If you look in the crystal ball, where we're going to be, what's exciting you the most at the moment?
Honestly, I think it's the talent there in the youngsters. And I was reading an article this morning that was talking about a little bit the kind of demise of cross-country running. I was at the French cross-country championships, national cross-country championships at the weekend. Have to applaud the organisers. They did an amazing job there. And when I go and watch these grassroots events and the development coming through, I'm actually excited by the level of competitiveness there amongst the kids. And I'm talking in the under 18, under 16 age groups, as well as the under 20s. I think the future's bright. And I think we kind of need to stop talking about the fact that the future isn't bright and start really focusing on the talent that is there, because there are a lot of really talented, super motivated kids coming through. And I think that's what excites me. I had the privilege of commentating on the 2024 World Junior Championships with World Athletics there. And again, the level of talent coming through I think is exciting for the future. So we have to make sure that this sport keeps developing and keeps allowing access from every area of society. Like I say, supporting those kids and growing that number of federations coming in and being represented at the top level at the World Championships, as many federations as possible, give them the opportunity to get there and compete.
Support, giving them the opportunity and moving
the
them
diversity.
through. Diversity, yeah, wonderful. I've got one quick, I think it's a comment that I want to read, or maybe it's a question from Atonya in Lagos. Hello, Paula, your unique style of running is one of the reasons I started loving watching women marathon racing. How does it feel being the only non-African in the top 10, top 20 women and marathon runners of all time?
Wow. I guess it's not something that I really thought about. And again, I'm grateful to those role models who had before me. I only just saw myself in the female category racing. I didn't see a huge distinction in terms of my color, my race, in terms of being able to get out there. And I still don't now. I guess when I look at that top 10 list, I look at it more of kind of old technology versus new technology, and kind of look at it in that respect. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, again, ensuring that those role models are there for everybody, so that everybody, and I think, honestly, kind of looking back to as I was coming through as a junior, it was something that on the male side, there was that distinction there, and there wasn't for women because of the female role models. So a British white male athlete would have looked at it and thought, I don't know if I can compete with the strength of Kenya and Ethiopia, now Uganda as well. Whereas I didn't have that barrier because I had seen the likes of Sonia O'Sullivan, Fernanda Ribeira, Gabriela Szabo, before that Joni and Ingrid and Greta really show that there was no reason that everybody couldn't compete.
Wonderful. Paula, it's such a great conversation. A couple of key takeaways for me. Perspective, maintaining perspective, making sure that it's fun. There's going to be ups and downs on the journey, but keep coming back to that focus on fun. The key of community and mentors to surround yourself with, not pushing the young runners too young, giving them the opportunity to do what they love. Paula Radcliffe, thank you so much for making the time. Wonderful to see you again.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for all the other speakers.
Thanks, Paula. Bye-bye for now. Thanks again to Paula as we move on to our next segment, which is also a video. We had a video before Paula and a video after. celebrating the future generation. We've got some messages from some young kids around the world.
My name is Anissa Reswami Ali Mustafa. My name is Noor Aira Balkis binti Muhammad Zoraisha. I live in Kuala Lumpur.
My name is Freely Young and I live in Sydney, Australia.
Hi, my name is Sage. I'm 9 years old and I live in Illinois.
My name is Alina Kantar and I live in Zimbabwe.
Hi, I'm Piper Sweeney and I'm from Sydney, Australia.
My name is Zara Bolton and I live in Sydney, Australia.
I started running when I was 7 years old. I started running at 8 years old.
I started running in COVID and I was about 9 years old when I started training.
I joined the run club when I was 7 or 8. I started running when I was like 1.
I was 5 years old when I started running.
I first started running when I was around 10 years old and I got into it during lockdown to help keep fit.
When I started running, I was 9 years old.
I run 6 times a week. I run today in 1 week.
I run 5 times a week.
I run a little every day. Some distances are shorter than others. Sometimes I just run in my house.
I run 4 times a week in a good week and twice a week in a bad week.
I run around 3 to 4 times a week.
I run 3 to 4 times a week.
My favorite place to run is at Arena Sukan Kuala Lumpur. My favorite place is Arena Sukan Kuala Lumpur.
My favorite place to run is Centennial Park and the Bay Run.
My favorite place to run is in Wisconsin because of the fresh air and the water, the sunlight, and the nature and everything that the city doesn't have.
My favorite place to run competition-wise is the Saxa track in South Africa, and practice-wise is my school cross-country course.
My favorite place to run is definitely around Sydney. I love the route from Centennial Park towards Sydney Harbour, as the views are amazing. You get to run past Sydney Opera House, the Harbour Bridge, and it's even more fun when I get to do it with all my friends.
My favourite place to run is around the White Fence track loop at Queen's Park.
I run because I want to represent my country, Malaysia. Because I want to represent Malaysia.
I run because it makes me feel good and I like running with my friends.
For exercise and to help me get stronger and maybe to become important in Black history.
I run because I like to push myself and my dream and help it to be a star Olympic athlete.
I run because I love the feeling of pushing myself and improving. Honestly, there's nothing better than finishing a really hard training session or a race and knowing you gave it everything you had.
I like to run because I like running with my friends and it makes me feel good when I have a good session.
There you go, celebrating future generations. A few themes there already following in from what Paula said: fun, being with friends, community. We look forward to seeing some of those young kids progressing and, or hopefully all of them progressing from around the world. So we had Zimbabwe, we had America, we had Malaysia, and we had Australia represented there. As we move on to our next segment, segment 8, we're getting closer to the finish line, but another wonderful segment, a new generation of female African leaders for the sport. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I had the absolute pleasure of being in Lagos recently for the World Athletics first Africa Running Conference. The energy in the room was just incredible. So much enthusiasm for the industry in Africa. And I'm delighted to welcome to the screen Khadija Suleiman, the founder of Gear 'Em Up, who is going to moderate this session. And joining Khadija, welcome to Aku Aghuzar, who's the VPN AFN and head of the Road Running Commission in Nigeria. A wonderful session on stage with Aku, hugely inspiring in Lagos. And then Hafsa Kamara, she's an Olympian and the co-founder of Africa Rise and the CEO of Sierra Leone Authority of American Football. Over to you, ladies. Looking forward to this conversation.
I'm so excited to be leading this conversation. Thank you so much, Chris. Today for this year's Women's History Month, we're so interested because nearly just 2 years ago, I ruptured my Achilles. And I was given the choice that if I wanted to get back to running, the same, I would need to have reconstructive surgery. So just to be able to sit down here today and have this conversation with you guys, it's a blessing. Anyways, enough about me. Honored to be joined with these two extraordinary leaders shaping the future of athletics. Can you guys start with your name, country, and one word that captures what drives you in this sport?
Yes, I can go first. My name is Hafsatu Hafsa Kamara, representing Sierra Leone. And I would say what drives me in this sport is the representation piece.
We can't do it like this. I mean, it's just, it's too much of a scramble.
In taking sports seriously.
I mean, the difference is that previously we would arrive at 6 o'clock and the studio was set up, and then we could do all the testing. We can't do the setup.
Guess it's my turn.
Yes.
Hi guys. Aku Arazu, and I am Nigerian, and I am speaking from Nigeria. And what got me, it is representation as well, but also uplifting people, not just women, but for purposes of this chat, I would say women, but empowerment, upliftment, and helping women get through stuff through movement.
Love that. You guys know representation matters so much. When you guys think back to the very beginning of your journey in sports, what was a defining moment, a person, or an experience that set you onto this path? I'd love for you guys to take it there. I mean, either you, Aku, or Hafsat, you guys can, whoever goes first. Just like
I'll go. Mine is easy. I would say what set me on this path is one man, actually. His name is Honorable Bukola Olopade. He's
a bit late now, but Sean's, I just seen a
conduit
message from Sean.
that led me
FYI,
to the life
YouTube
I'm
recording
living
is
now.
showing you instead of the speaker.
I don't know if I have enough time ever to regale us with the stories, but short of it is I critiqued a race he organized, and the honorable man that he is, he asked me to come help fix it some years ago. And I went after his race. I dissected it and totally
Is what it is.
critiqued it. And instead of doing what normal people do, which is come out defensive, I got a phone call that said, hey, you were talking about my race, and you seem to know a lot about what you're talking about. Come help me fix it. So while working for him or consulting for him, he was honored to get a job, a national level job. And again, he called and said, come, let's go make a legacy. So that's why I'm here now.
It's amazing. Love that. Hafsa, what would that be for you?
For me, 2 moments come into mind. First, as an athlete, that moment was watching London 2012 Olympics and the opening ceremony. And at the time, I was a sophomore in college, competing track, but also not seeing a future in it, just mainly seeing it as something that I have a scholarship, it's paying for school. But watching 2012 and opening ceremony and seeing that Salone was there, but in very like a small delegation, a small institution, really, that was when I set the goal to be there in the next Olympics in 2016 and as a participant. And that got me started as an athlete. And then after 2016, I was checking my Facebook messages and looking at all the replies, and I received a reply from a dad who sent photos of a young daughter training in the rain in Salone. And he had a long spiel of a message, and at the end, he said that she said she wants to be just like Hafsatu Kamara.
How are we doing on time? We're pretty much on schedule, huh?
And yeah, it still touches my heart. And from there, it changed my whole perspective in
representation not just starting
Yeah.
with me, but something to continue. And that's where it became remembering who I'm doing it for and making sure I'm not the last person, rather there's others coming behind me to also amplify the representation, but make it more than just that. Succeed in roles, not just as advocates, as mentors and in different ways. So those two moments is what did it for me.
And I think that's so important, realizing that it's not just us. It's always, there's a greater calling and a bigger purpose beyond just us as individuals. But next question I'd love to ask, being that the careers that you guys have taken you across borders, organizations, different roles, how would you describe what you do today and why it matters to you personally?
I can take that. For me, it's right now I find myself at an intersection of sports, culture, and community. Being a Salon American, I live in that intersection of that diaspora space, coming from two different worlds and really uniting that. And so in my roles now as CEO of that of Sierra Leone's American Football Federation, but then also Athlete Commission Chair for Sierra Leone, and the work that I do as far as sports media, the whole goal is like uniting communities and doing it in a way that's authentic to our culture and authentic to who we are as individuals. So putting together space, putting together messages and telling the stories of women, especially on the continent, who are doing these things and have been doing these things. We really haven't been highlighted in that way. And then inspiring the future generation that they too can trailblaze in this way and they can do it in their own way. So that's basically where I'm at now and like what it is that I'm aspiring to do.
Love that.
Okay, for me, it's multifaceted because I'm a distance runner, I'm an ultra runner, and I'm also the head of the road running commission of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. And that's for my running part. And then I'm an advisor to the Director General for other sports and all that stuff. Where it comes to running and that part of me, I think why it matters to me personally is that running pretty much saved my life. In my late 30s, early 40s, I was going through so much. And I turned to running, and I kind of give running, as well as, of course, my God, the credit for being here today. So I know there's a lot of challenges for women in particular in our climate. When I say our climate, I mean the African climate. And I need everyone or all women to know that there's this thing that they can turn to help them, and that this community that exists out there, the running community that is welcoming and that they can rely on to get through some trying times in their lives. So that's the running part of me, and also to get as many opportunities for Nigerians and Africans to experience these races they go to other parts of the world to do. We need to bring it home. After all, look at any marathon or long race start line, and it's African dominated. So I feel we need to bring this back more.
I think
and also to get more women
it's
involved
been for it to suddenly
distance
disappear
running,
now halfway through is kind of weird.
particularly
So
in Africa. So that's the running part of me.
just leave it.
That is really important to me. On the other side of it, the athletic side and the advising side, it's to make sports a unifier, truly, to spread the gospel according to sports and how it unites nations, how it unites peoples. And a macro side of that is to get the people actually participating in those sports to show them that they're cared for and they're important to nation building. So that's what matters to me personally.
You guys have both said really amazing things. I'm trying to figure out what part to pull from. One thing you first said was, the community side of things and just how sports saved your life. For me being a past athlete, I feel the same way. I always say sports took me all over the world. It gave me so many connections. It opened so many doors for me. Like, I do not know where I would be without sports. And so I think that's why, apart from being an athlete, that's why I'm still working in this sector of things. And so just hearing you guys say that, it's just really inspiring. The next question I would say, I think with both of us, well, all of us, I think we all have similar backgrounds of previously living in the States and relocating back to the continent. We all know that Africa is producing world-class athletes, but the story of African women in sports leadership is still being written. What does your own journey tell us about what it takes to help write this from the inside?
I would say, Akudi.
Go ahead, darling, go ahead.
I would say, because right now I'm in Senegal in Dakar for hosting like a summit for Youth Olympic Games, and being on the ground and being here is been enlightening in seeing how much of a community there is, and especially on the women's side, such advocacy for each other. And I would say that is one thing that is needed and we're doing it and continues to be done, but not just as far as women. The advocacy needs to come at all parts, including men. And those
that was a great video, Tit. I hadn't realized you were going to break it all up like that. It's really nice.
Are identified that can benefit our community.
Yeah, but I thought you would do one person with all of the 5 questions and then the next one. So I loved it. Yeah. It's really cool.
If you know someone who is like not just qualified for the job, but has the characteristics, the integrity, and the passion for something, I think being able to advocate for them goes a long way. Put in a good word, speaking their names in the room when they're not there, is something that we've seen done in different spaces, and I think we can continue doing here on the continent. So yeah, that would be my take.
So in speaking with some ministers of sports and directors of sports from across Africa during the recently concluded African Road Running Conference in Lagos, I'm actually quite excited about how far we've come in terms of placing women in leadership positions. From South Africa all the way up to Gambia, the Ivory Coast. So I'm actually excited by it. We got a little help, I think, from the IOC, if I can mention that, in terms of the 50-50 vision that they're heading towards of women in sports and sports leadership. So I think a lot of countries, I can speak for Nigeria, and we have 2 amazing sports leaders and a president that firmly believes in that vision. And in fact, at the Sports Commission now, a lot of the the visible positions that are the ones that make the most impact are actually headed by women. Like a director of the Federations and Elite Athletes Department, which is the engine room of the commission, the director of grassroots. So they're making a conscious effort to make sure that women are in these positions, and then we're delivering. So he encourages them to do more. Is there a lot more to be done? Yes, but I must commend what's, like I said, is actually sweeping through Africa at the moment, which is placing women in leadership positions.
I always say women just do better jobs. We pay a lot of attention to detail. If you want something to get done, a woman will get it done. At least I can say that for myself. I certainly know that. The next question I will ask for you guys is barriers. As a woman in sports leadership in Africa, what was the hardest wall you had to push through?
Being prompted, Mikey.
And how did you push through it?
Oh yeah, 10 minutes, yeah. Yeah.
I'll have you take this one and start off.
Kilometer 32 of the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon was the hardest wall. Okay, I'm joking. The hardest wall is this notion that it's salient, but it's still there, that women don't just belong. It's not overt, but it's something that is not as overt as it used to be. And again, we have people in leadership, men in leadership, that actually act the talk. So when those walls arise, they assist the women they've placed or they've helped get into position to make sure it's knocked down. If I have to be specific about a wall that I've come across, right now I can't think of a particular one, because again, people will say maybe I've had a soft landing in the sense that the leadership and the president of the country as well believes that women can do a lot and have given us the opportunity to do that. So those walls are not as overt as maybe they are in other places.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that. I would say for my experience, as an athlete, I was very adamant about getting to know my leaders and the executives within the NOC and so forth, and them getting to know me and my aspirations. So when it came time for me to step into more of a leadership position, they were able to advocate for me in that way. And so that soft landing was there because of people in place who, understand. Yes, people were in place who then understand.
We have to give them credit.
Exactly. I would say one barrier that affects not just as far as women, but anyone across the board is the structural barrier and the process and the systems in place, because we're talking about sports, but this could range across many factors where certain systems need to be updated,
Yes.
And need to be innovative and need to fit the demographic that's there on the continent today. And not what has been working in the past. So I would say that is a barrier we face, but we're resilient, we're flexible, we're stubborn. And so we find ways to mold these new paths and not invent, but recreate processes that fit the future. So I would say that the structural barriers, but it's not so much of a barrier because we're going to find a solution.
I am so sorry to have missed that. My connection, a barrier, that is one barrier that I will throw into being here, but we're working on getting that resolved. I don't know where you got the last question or where Chris hopped in at. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And then just one last question I will say. If you can think about a girl in your home country today who dreams of not becoming an athlete, but leading a sport, whether it's a coach, a federation director, a sports scientist, what does she need most right now that she doesn't have yet? And what would you say to her directly?
I would say to her to be very bold and not be afraid to ask for what it is you need to help you prosper. Nobody's gonna hand anything to you. You might get help if you put yourself out there and then be able to articulate what it is that you want to do or hope to do. Look for mentors, people that are there before you, male or female, and glue yourself to them and make sure that you're prepared. Because it's the field is so vast that if you're not prepared, you can be looked over really quickly. But there are people out there to help you along your way. And then you have to be teachable, but above all, be very, very bold and not be afraid to ask for what it is that you want. That would be my advice to the girl.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you very much. And then Hafsa? We have 1 minute remaining. Sorry to rush you, but yes. No, thank you.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what our coach just said, and being in that boldness, and adding to it is not being fearful of setting high dreams and high goals. And knowing that there are people there, you can create your core dreamers as well who will support you. Have a team, have those who can speak life into you, and lean on that. Like that is going to push you forward more than anything. Is just people you surround yourself with.
Getting ready.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. This was an honor to even be able to have this conversation with each and every one of you guys, and wishing everyone the best moving forward in everything that we do in our careers.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chris, for organizing this, and looking forward to seeing some or all of you, some running conference somewhere or some race somewhere. Thank you.
What an amazing panel. Thank you so much, Khadija, Aku, and Hafsa. And we didn't miss a blink when you were off there. The two that were left carried it off perfectly. I didn't need to interject. So great job. So many takeaways. I'm going to grab a couple of them. Be bold. Ask for what you want. Don't fear high goals and dreams. Men assisting women to break down the walls, the importance of having not only women but men mentors who can support you. And that amazing example, as I said, I had the great privilege and pleasure of being in Lagos for the Africa Running Conference, and the enthusiasm and passion in the room, and it was so obvious that running has such a support from the president down. And I think if we can see that happening in more countries, the impact that we can have, both from a health and well-being and a social impact, as well as tourism and many others, is incredibly powerful. So thank you once again for those amazing insights. As we move on to our next segment, and it's titled, What's Shaping the Modern Female Running Identity? Delighted to welcome Dr. Sonia Haboob, the CEO and founder of Global Race Connect and the Globe Run Scholar. Dr. Sonia is going to give us about a 10-minute presentation, and then we're going to welcome S.A. Taga, who's a content creator and a member of the Fit Trackers Run Club, and her and Dr. Sonia will have a conversation with Natasha Manchado, the running project manager from World Athletics. So first, a big welcome to you, Sonia. We'll hand over the screen to you, do your presentation, and then we will welcome on S.A. and Natasha to have the conversation with you.
Thank you very much, Chris, and good morning, good evening to everyone, depending on which part of the world you're in. I am going to share my screen. Please let me know if you can see. All right, can you see my screen, please?
Not seeing it yet, no. Mikey, we might just get there.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah, we can see it now.
All right, perfect. So in this short presentation, we are going to see very shortly how the modern female running identity is being shaped through 3 different cores. So this is a lovely picture. We're going to focus a little bit more on the Middle East. No matter what's going on right now, we are here, we're safe, and we keep believing and focusing, and running and physical activity, as I always say, it's definitely helping us, helping to control our emotions, and that's the most important thing right now. So this is from the Pyramids Health Marathon, just like a few months ago. So the 3 core forces that are really shaping women running around the world, not only in the GCC countries or the Middle East, is a big part is the cultural acceptance. So when you see that governments and institutions are really pushing females to be part of the community runs and community events more and more, they automatically feel that belonging to a community. But also there's a very important part, which is the digital presence and the digital awareness. So if we look in the first fours, this was taken in a running track with Bolt in Doha, Qatar, last January 2026. As I said, women are reclaiming literally the public spaces as legitimate athletes. And we've seen so many incredible athletes in the Middle East, in the GCC, and when they are backed up by the culture, not only of running, but also by the ministers and by many different sports like identities, it really helps them to reshape and reclaim that public space. But also the digital platforms, as I mentioned, it helps them to build that personal branding. So when we talk about personal branding and digital platforms, there's the first part that we talk about, which is the digital platform itself, social media, whether it's Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and so on, but also how female feel digitalized. So every time they run, when they post on Strava or their own PR, their own PBs, and it's something that it keeps going on, especially in the region. And it's also very important here to draw a very important line between being digitalized as an influencer, a running influencer, and a running ambassador. I've talked about it many times because being an influencer is completely different from being an ambassador. And nowadays, companies are going towards more and more the ambassadors. An ambassador has been wearing the gears, has been running, has been doing that physical activity for so many years. So if you ask him, if you ask her, she will be able to answer you or anyone in her digital community. Whereas I am going to take an influencer, which is something that I keep seeing a lot also in different parts of the world, of looking at the stats and looking at the numbers and inviting influencers, no matter if they're runners or not. So that is a very important line to draw, especially in this industry. So the digital agency is really reshaping what it means to be a female runner in this modern era. And then we have the third force, which is the community and global events. So there are major marathons and community runs that are being created. And we've seen the last one in Doha in Qatar in January that was supported by World Athletics as well. It was amazing with so many runners. That gives definitely an important visibility, and it creates that sense of belonging for these females, because they can see that they can go participate and run and create their own narrative. So to summarize it, we have these three core power where freedom, power, and strength are at the core. Participate publicly and claim their own space. So indeed, freedom, control their own narrative and voice, and not their voice being controlled by something else or someone else. And then that creates automatically that strength to build the community, to support, and that's where ambition becomes collective celebration.
Thanks, Mikey.
I'm going to stop sharing the screen.
Okay, let's go.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. So that was a very short presentation. I hope I gave you a few insights.
Thank you, Dr. Sonia. Some great insights there. Let's welcome SA to the screen along with Natasha, and I'll leave you to take it away, Natasha.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Sonia. So thanks for these insights.
Hi, Natasha.
I think, yeah, it's very interesting, like, to hear this specific data from you, and maybe Esa will also joining us for this conversation. But of course, I can start like with some questions. Like I know that you were going to talk about this. It was not specific in your data, but I think it's important, like, for us, like, in this global audience. So considering, for example, I am Brazilian, so you are from the Middle East. So how is the difference? Like, I am Brazilian, living in Europe, but run, like, what does it mean, like, to be a female runner in the Middle East today?
Yes, well, thank you very much for your question, Natasha, and a pleasure seeing you here. Well, yes, you mentioned you are Brazilian. So I lived in Brazil. I remember my days in Ipanema waiting for açaí. And I am half Italian, so I'm fully Italian, but I have Middle Eastern origins. Now I'm living in the UAE, in Dubai, since almost 3 years. I've been participating to many races in the Middle East, definitely to cite Lebanon, like organizing incredible races where, you know, the sense of community is really amazing. The Pyramids Half Marathon in Egypt, and so many other races around, even here in the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait. Kuwait is definitely also another incredible marathon. It's, you know, if I compare the first races that I participated to about 4 or 5 years ago when I was still not living here, and then how the whole environment has changed and being shaped, there's definitely, as I always say, you know, that sense of community moved by people, moved by running clubs that we know they are a major, you know, it's a major boom worldwide right now, but also moved a lot by social media. You know, there's a lot of companies, a lot of race organizers that they do not see that part of digital marketing as being a real campaign. It is a real campaign. It's just that we are moving slowly from the offline to the online. And when you choose specific figures and people to participate to your race, it can either enhance it or either, you know, have the opposite. But the landscape is really changing, especially, as I said at the beginning, when you see that the entities and governments and ministries of sports that are pushing the female athletes to participate more, they are being awarded in their own category, no matter the age. So they feel backed up. And myself, of course, having Middle Eastern origin, but I was born and raised up in Italy my whole life. And then I moved when I was 18 and I lived and been in more than 100 countries. It really shapes you as well. So you come back to the Middle East, you have a different view and you want to inspire and help as many women and as many little girls as possible. And, you know, trying to spread the message of, I run because of something. I run because of someone. And in many different rural areas around Oman, even part of you know, of the Middle East, many women see it as a barrier, cultural-wise, political-wise, as a taboo for many families. I have students that literally tell me, I would like to run, but I'm not allowed by my family yet. So we keep believing and we keep pushing, and I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen in the next few months and years.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to have this perspective, especially like with your special perspective as well, like from different countries. But I think that this link like to a question that I would like to do like to Essie, because how we can like understand like this digital world, like what would be as the role of the creators or even like the running influencers, even though like it sometimes is not so linked with branding, but runners who post on social media. So how you could contribute as to share with us a bit of this role of the creators in shaping this modern culture of running?
Thank you very much, Natasha, for having me. And this is a very, very beautiful question because of recent, creators have been doing lots of groundwork, connecting the global races to the community, the grassroots community. We are like the first point of contact to everyone around us, that people don't get to see the sport, the race, the sport of race as something made for just elite runners. We see it as something that everyday people can connect with. It has built community for us. It has built person-to-person communication, love, and everything in between. So digital creators have been able to bridge that gap between the global running community and the grassroots running community.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that is also when we talk about digital storytelling and also the representation of women in running. So how you can contribute like with your content in your social media, for example.
Okay, over time, people used to see sports running as something that makes one look masculine. So like when you start running, people will think, oh, you develop a man's body, you'll be looking so masculine and all of that. But these days, people come online randomly or even look on their streets and see women running and they are inspired. I know how many people over the period of last year to date have said, oh, I've started running, I see what you're doing and it's great. And I'm not the only one receiving messages like that. I speak to other creators and they get lots of messages like that. They are inspired. Women are inspired to come into the sport without seeing it as a sport meant for just men. It has the digital community has really encouraged more women to come tell their stories, share their personal stories, that even when you're scrolling randomly on Instagram, you see the story of another female creator and you'll be like, oh, this person is also going through the same thing I am going through. People can relate with one another and have shared conversations on this platform without feeling too distant from each other.
That's great. And I think that we can also, I'm back. So I think that we can also connect with some of the insights that Sonia brought to us. So how we could, for example, like building this female running communities in this emerging running ecosystem. So if you can share like some other insights on this with us, please.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Sorry, yeah, I was asking Sonia to contribute like with some insights regarding the building female. Yeah, I think that you heard it, yeah?
Yes, I did.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Natasha. I always say that the most important thing is to be authentic and ask yourself the question, why are you running? I know why am I running, and probably that's why it drove the community since I am on social media since 2012. So it's been more than 10 years. And then it keeps building up. And as Isa say, many females, but also males feel identified. You know, there's a lot of taboos on men, on the way they express their emotions and their feelings. You ask any man who's running the start line, why you want to run today? Of course, like the bold answer would be like, oh, for my Strava or for my PB or PR. But the truth is that we all have a story. We all have a purpose. We all have something we are running for. We all have something to heal from. And that's something that I try, to foster on my social media. Female runners, if, as I said, being authentic and ask yourself the question, why are you running? When people come to me, as to everyone after a race, and it was like, oh, what was your timing today? What was your PB? What was your VO2? And I'm like, guys, hey, chill down. Guys, did you enjoy the run? That's the most important thing. Did you enjoy it? Once you enjoyed it, then we can talk about Strava, about the PR, about the PB, about how your speed sessions are going. But did you enjoy the run? Yes. Okay, then we can move on, But yeah, I'm trying to make it a bit more funny. But of course, like a lot of run comes with a lot of tears. We are all going through something. Everyone participating in this webinar, everyone who has been talking, we are all going through something, whether positive or negative. But as I always said, running and physical activity are an enhancement, the pure medicine and the purest therapy against anything in this world. And running brings love and brings people together and brings hearts together. And hence also we are organizing the Africa Running Show next June in Kinshasa in Congo, because we believe in the unity of countries and we believe in the unity of continents.
It's amazing. And then, of course, like we are speaking like a lot about women, because, of course, this is the theme also of our webinar today, so celebrate women. But, of course, when we want like better conditions and equality for women, of course, we are also envisioning a better society in general. And of course, men are inside of this society, so it's for everyone, like the benefit. So it's very interesting, like to listen to your thoughts on this as well, and bring this other perspective, like, and why we are doing this. Yeah, why is the reason? Like, so we could think bigger, yeah, like, and for some bigger benefits. So and then as maybe also thinking about society, and maybe the running communities could be also seen now as a safe and maybe empowering space for women in this case, but then we will build probably a better society for everyone. So maybe you can bring like some of your ideas on this as well. I don't know if you listen, Eze, are you hearing me?
Yes, I heard you. I was trying to get what you were saying, but I have to use a translator.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, you're talking about running communities and how they help to enhance the whole running. Oh yes, running communities have actually made running feel safer, because especially for me as a woman, waking up early in the morning to run is not exactly safe, if we are being honest. But when I joined my run community, when I joined my run club, Fit Trackers, I was able to text, even when we're not running as a group, I could easily put it on my community platform. Hello, who's running this morning? Can I run with you? And oh, the guys are always ready to support. Men are allies when it comes to the run community. Men, kudos to you all, first of all. So they are real good allies when it comes to running, because you always see one or two guys that will be willing to run with you, just to make sure that you keep up the momentum. You don't give up, rather. Sorry about that. So run communities have really been a very strong support system when it comes to the sports of race.
Yeah, no, it's nice to hear this, because I think that with this, like more people involved as well, like in running, we can show like that we needed maybe to change like something, not only like not individual, because of course we are in these collective groups of running communities, but I think that we can take advantage of this straight of a proper running, a proper community. And I think that this brings me also like to a question to Sonia, that maybe you can put like some of other data and insights. So running can be seen as a bridge between region, cultures, like communities. So maybe you can put like some more data and perspectives on this from your personal trajectory, but also from your studies as well.
Great, thank you, Natasha. You know, I like to say that when people ask, what do you do? And I'm like, a lot of things, you know. I mainly teach at the university, but yeah, I'm an athlete. I run myself every single week. Now the situation is a bit unstable, as you know, so we cannot travel, but usually it's every single country, every single weekend on a different part of the world. And many say why. The reason is, you know, there's so much sports diplomacy that you can do around the world. As I said before, you give love out of love, and you receive so much love back. And through running, yes, through running, because running can save so many lives. Whether you're going through a physical condition, a mental condition, a war condition. And I'm a bit emotional because of what's going on, but I'm going to give you a real example. So tonight actually in Dubai, there's a race organized that is going to bring so many people together. As Izzy mentioned, you know, women sometimes are scared to run in the morning. Well, now people are scared to run, just to run. But we know the importance of running. We know the importance of bringing people together. We know the importance of sports diplomacy to bring many countries together. We are over 200 nationalities, but we are going to spread one love message through running. And that's how running brings people together. And that's why I keep traveling the world and spreading the message and hopefully we will be able to do it again very soon. But to give you some data, Natasha, I remember like one specific race in Oman, where we collaborated with them, and we brought so many people from the rest of Europe and some other also from South America. They were expecting around 200 runners, and we ended up being more than 750 beyond, you know, like the collaboration, but also what these international runners brought back home. And the whole experience in a country that they didn't know, in a country that so many countries, they have prejudices, you know, like even when I was running in Jamaica, oh, how's Jamaica? Is it safe? Or are you running in Saudi Arabia? Oh, do you have to cover? You know, I'm just giving like simple examples and questions that a lot of people ask. And I always say, until you have not done it, you cannot really express yourself. So go run. Hold the community's hand, run with them, get to know them. And you will see that running in Jamaica is different from running in Saudi, running in Bhutan is different from running in the US, and so on. And you build that global community that shapes you, but you always shape them as well. So that's why I encourage everyone to do so and to keep running.
Thanks a lot, Sonia. And it's, we are very sorry, of course, like with the situation. So we hope as well that things will be better soon. Like this is my desire, like for the entire world, actually, like for any areas of conflict. So I hope that running can help us as well, like the sports can help, because sport as part of society is important for us, like to have, like to hang on something. So I hope that running can help, and I hope that this conversation also help to exchange some ideas, like between Sonia, between us, between everyone who is part of our audience today. And unfortunately, we are running out of time, so we could spend like much more here, like to discuss and exchange some experience, some different perspectives. So I thank you so much for making the time to be here with us in this special session. Sonia, despite all the situation, you are here with us, and we stand with you. And Essie, thank you as well to be here with us, sharing your experience. And Chris, it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Esa.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Thank you, Dr. Sonia and Esa. What a great conversation, and a couple of key takeaways. The importance of being authentic, and how authentic were you tonight with sharing your challenges and the power of sports diplomacy and love to be able to solve some of these challenges that we have in the world at the moment. Dr. Sonia, thank you for your presentation as well. It's not just about data, was one of the points. You know, get the finish line, and you're all running for a reason. You've all got a story, being authentic with that story. And the other one is the point that was made is the fact that we do all have a story, and a different story that we can share if we have the willingness to share it, which builds our modern female running identity. So thank you again, Natasha, Esa, and Dr. Sonia. As we move to our final segment before I come and wrap up, and delighted to welcome Lucia Kolish, PhD. She's a World Athletics Grade A measurer and program administrator, and she's going to be in conversation with someone who needs no introduction, Alessio Punzi, Head of Running and Mass Participation from World Athletics, and they're going to have a conversation to discuss unconventional female leadership in the world of sport, measuring marathon routes, in the world's busiest cities. Wonderful to see you again, Lucia, and Alessio, I think you should be there as well.
I am here. Hi.
Hi, great to see you.
If you can or cannot see me, but I can see you and Lucia. Welcome, Lucia.
Hi, hello to everyone, and I'm so proud to be with this great panel of great ladies and women in road running communities. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Lucia, Benjamin, my colleague Benjamin was on the show earlier, and he said this is an advertisement break. We are trying to promote something that we're doing. In a way, this is also a bit of an advertisement, because we are trying to recruit people, right? We want people, and women in this particular case, to be joining the sport in from different entry points. Your history, your background in the sport is especially fascinating. So we thought, what a great example of female leadership you would be. So bear with me, help us doing this recruiting, just like when the army wants to recruit people. And what you do isn't especially safe sometimes, but exciting nonetheless. Before we get to the questions, do you mind 30 seconds, just a brief introduction of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, first of all, I'm Lucia. I'm coming from Croatia, small country, but my first occupation, I'm a professor at the University of Sports University. I finished PhD in sports science, also athletic coach, former athletes that led me to this role that I had some passion to realize and find out more about the process that we are going to speak about, measurement and everything in road running. So.
Yes, because Lucia, let's explain very briefly what is course measurement, a primary course measurement.
Yeah, course measurement, it's made with a specific protocol that is run to measuring with the bicycle through the course that is imagined by one organizers, and we are adjusting it to the distances that are prior to eligible for the world records that are like in our rules. So like 5Ks, 10Ks, and any distances that we need to do.
And I cannot stress enough, I do this all the time, but I have to do it tonight as well, how fundamental this function is. Without course measurement, there simply is no sport. Without the work of people like you, there is no sport as such.
I think the first part of any organizer should be the accuracy of the course measurement, like crucial point that we have secured and ensured that the course that is set by the standards and the rules of world athletics. So one of the, from my perspective, one of the most important roles in organization and should be. We should get more attention to this role.
So, Lucia, I'm proud to be able to say that World Athletics is really one of the leading sports organizations when it comes to gender equality in a number of ways, on and off the competition field. When it comes to the administration side of things, we have achieved already perfect parity in our council, which wasn't constitutionally, which we weren't constitutionally obliged to do yet, but we managed to do that. We have gender leadership task forces, we have female participation in our commissions, and even on the field. There is perfect prize money parity between men and women, and it's been there for a long time. One field, however, in which we don't have parity is what you do, course measurement. I haven't checked the numbers, but I would say that the male to female ratio is probably 85-15, if not 90-10.
I can refer to that. Before this webinar, I didn't even know. Usually, people ask me, "How is what's the number of the women, females and males in measurement?" I was approximately tell them like 40 women and the rest of the men. But as I'm an administrator also in this field, I had a list and I counted. We have like 341 measure B and A measures. From that number, there is 17 women.
Really?
12 are B measures, 5 are A measures. That means that we are 5% of this community. So we are I feel like a statistic error in this field. But so
if you
even
are
more proud
error.
to be, even more.
Don't make this conversation even more nerdy than it needs to be. You are a PhD and a course measurer. So what exactly is your job? Can you explain in a simple way to people who don't necessarily know what course measurement is? What do you do?
I'm asked from the organizer to come and to do the measurement of the course that they are initially
because they have an idea initially. No, they're like, I would like the race to be here, but it's not necessarily defined.
Usually,
right?
most of them they have idea, and some of them, of course, they have like accurate course that we measured, and they have most of those are organizers who have more experience in this organization, so they have like errors and trials to get to the course, but most of them don't have the real picture, and I help them not just to measure, also to advise them shape them, to help to from the different point of view, not just from the organizational part, but from the running side, how it should be custom to the runner, that it fits to their needs, that the turnarounds are not too sharp, that avoid 180 degrees turns or something like that, if it's possible, of course, and take it in this caliber that they want to be, like start and finish, they want to be in some space or different ways or whatever. So, and not just to measure, to help them in advising, to design for them even more the course, after maybe to help in management if they ask me to be on the race day, to help them to do the setup, to be in the lead vehicle. A lot of roles are connected with the measurement part of the
Yeah, Lucia it's worth pointing out that Lucia will be the official World Athletics measurer for the upcoming Road Running Championships in Copenhagen. Big honor. Lucia, is it the first time we appoint a woman for that, or have you?
No, it was before me in Oregon. Jane from USA. She was, and then I was also. This is my second big appointment, and first was in Riga, 2023. And first, most of that I'm honored because TD was also a woman, Elisa Grandi from Italy, and she's also an A grade measure. So that's like, for me, it was like very nice to see two women in the two big roles.
It's a very restricted club. It's a very close club. Lucia, you are already recognized. We can say that as one of the best measurers in the world. All the more so considering your young age in a pocket of the sport which has been for a long time the preserve of older men, let's say. Can you give us a glimpse into the challenges of your work, what you do, both in terms of when you design a course, but also when you physically are there? I've seen videos, I've shared videos of you doing your work. It's crazy. It's stuff that I wouldn't want my mom seeing me doing. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, whenever someone asks me what I'm doing on the course, most of them think like I come to the spot and I see the map and I tell like, yeah, this is a 21.07 5 kilometers or something like that. But then I explain the process that it should be measured as it set during the race day, like shortest possible route, because the roads are closed during the event. That means I'm cutting the corners, going against the traffic. Of course, I'm aware of this situation. I need to be very careful. It's very dangerous work, but also gets excitement, because when you achieve and show the people that it's possible, that makes them like even more like sparking joy. Like, yeah, everything is possible if you have like that mindset and you are dedicated to work to do and to provide organizers or course director like the best you can. That's the most important. There are also a lot of against the traffic situations and crazy for regular people, crazy stuff when they are working outside.
Even for some measures, you are known to have a reputation for being especially reckless, which is part of the job, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Last 2 days ago, I went on one measurement, and the me measure from that country was with me. And
where?
In Romania, Cluj, for the big event that is coming in June. And he's great, but he was telling me that this is not possible. This is not possible. Yeah, I told him, if you are afraid, I go first. You go behind me. Everything is possible. Just stay calm. And we had a few rides of the loop that we are measuring. My ride was differentiating like 2 rides in 12 centimeters. His has like 3 meters difference in 2 rides.
There we go.
Just because, I saw what he's doing, and he was like, I couldn't do that. You are crazy. Yeah, in that moment, to be capable to stay like focused, stay like calm, and provide and make the work the best you can. So.
Yeah, because that is the thing. If
Mikey,
if
there's
the
some
road,
questions
for
there that
example,
I'll
is turning
pick up,
right,
yeah.
you have in your head a precise line that you want to keep.
Exactly.
If you're scared or if you're unstable on your
and the
bike,
one down
then
below.
chances are you will wobble a little bit, or that you will be pushed aside
the
by the
latest
traffic,
one.
and that ends up having resulting in a longer course, which is
Yes.
not ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you end up doing this, Lucia?
Yeah, it comes like I'm in.
Sorry.
In Croatia, like as I finished master in kinesiology, become a professor, then start PhD. We had like in situation in Balkan that time was we don't have any measure. They were I think one in Slovenia, but most of them are coming from other countries. Balkan Federation asked our federation in the Balkan countries that do they have someone who wants to go to the seminar, and it was held in Athens 2014. And I was selected from my federation to go there and do the seminar. And I was just regular attendee of the seminar. But what led to me, when I saw, immediately I knew that this is something for me, because imperfection is like to the goal-oriented and in solving the problem. But to see the gadget that is like reverse of the wheels in the different bikes set for the different people, calibrate on one course. We get almost the same result if we're measuring the same course. It was like, for me, like breakthrough. I was like so amazed with everything. And I bought my first counter there in Athens, and then started to do my work by like doing some reports and volunteering work by myself, issuing my report, sending to my first mentor, Hugh Jones from UK, now my colleague, and going by like in each my spare time, weekends I lost with finding other colleagues who are coming in my countries, nearby countries, to measure with them, to get experience, all volunteering, just enjoying in a situation that I am contributing somehow in this running field.
So we're already
and
2.5
shortly
minutes over.
after, like 6 months, I become a B measure, like and in 2 years after an A measure, and from that on I'm.
How many international races have you measured, if you count them?
Yeah, I have a list from the first.
We are supposed to have a list too, but I didn't check that either.
Around like 800 courses, like
800 courses.
800, maybe more, but like I go to one event and measure at least 2-3 courses at the same event. So yeah.
And it's mainly done at night, right? Because through traffic is potentially
most of them
is done at night.
Are done during the night. Yeah.
So certainly physical prowess is one important feature to possess if you want to do this job. But what other characteristics do you think a measurer should possess, and especially a female measurer, as we are trying to appeal to that demographic?
Yeah, I think the female, as my colleagues were saying before, we are more dedicated to the work, and we are executing some works better than men. Don't get me wrong, but I had the opportunity and honor to be one of the lecturers in Italy when we had like our seminar for some European measures and countries, and 2 of them, the best of them in solving the issues, were women. And I was amazed. Yeah. But none of those still are becoming a measure, because they don't get opportunities.
How many have we got left on, please, Mikey?
To do.
How many left on still?
Some measurements, and of course other things happens like parenting kids and stuff. So but I think that 96. We are very capable to. I'm leading by example that we are very capable to doing and providing and executing the work even better than some of my colleagues. So that's the.
What was the highest we saw?
I wanted to point it. So we have a capacity as a woman, but maybe have a less opportunity to get in this. I was, of course, great in my work.
I thought I saw 165, it was 68 or something at one stage.
Second mentor, I think he is also here, David Katz, who was one of who I measured
Tip
first.
Of the hat to David, of course.
Yeah. In Bali, in Jakarta, he recognized me as one of the best, and he told me, and he speak nicely to the World Athletics about me, and then I was appointed for Riga. If he was not behind me, I probably won't be. I'm goosebumping, but that's true.
No, you would be. We would have found you anyways. Maybe it's important, but not that important after all.
Yeah. But of course, but yeah, you need to have someone to push you.
Of course, you need to have you need to have a pathway. Lucia, there's a slightly technical question which I would still like to pose you from the chat here. What potential role do you see for AI in the course measurement field? Because Maya Johnson, who asked this question, posed the same question at the Running USA, and the answer was wheel and the bike. That's it. What do you see?
AI.
Yeah. What is the future? Let's say more broadly technology, more than just
Technology. As I know from the beginnings, this gadget is the only approved measurement counter attached to the wheel to measure the course from the beginnings. And if we don't make some bigger, it's very fragile. If you don't, they makes bigger and harder that can fit on some faster vehicles. We can maybe transfer to that, but AI can help maybe in helping solving some questions like about design course or something like that, but executing the work on the course, it should be done by the person. Also, there are a lot of people ask why we are not use geodetics measure or something, but from my experience and talks with the colleagues who are some of them in geodetics world, this type of mapping exists. But they're very expensive to big organizers, and they got the difference like in between like 50 meters or something or less. I had experience, I measured the course.
That's because you're good. Because you're so good.
Yeah. But the price is this in between these like geodetics measures and the measurement of us as humans is like 1,000% more expensive than.
You should raise your prices then as well.
Yeah, I think that the logic here is like that we provide to small countries to have the certified course of like.
That's the thing.
Yeah, World Athletics. So it's a hobby. It's not a living.
Yeah. So this is a very dangerous rabbit hole that we may be starting if we want to talk about the specificities and the technicalities and the potential changes to course measurement. It's a very worthy conversation, but we will drop just like that from 103 participants down to 50 because it's a niche topic, which is not for this forum. One last suggestion that you would like to give to not just women, but let's say women and any young person who loves the sport of running, participates in racing, and would like to be more involved. How do they get to do what you do?
Like a lot of my colleagues told, like just enjoy what you're doing and don't give anyone to tell you that you are not capable of doing. Just be yourself, be unique, not authentic, but unique. Be who you are and shine that light and help others, support others. Because I think helping others shine won't dim your own glow because it will illuminate it more. So support each other, just small steps and go ahead. And fear is there always because you're going out of comfort zone. I don't know that the best, but when you jump, it's done. You are flying. No one can stop you. So that's the most important part.
Very powerful words. Chris, would you mind coming back on stage? Help me wrap this up.
Thank you, Alessio. Thank you, Lucia.
There you go. Because you're much better than me at using the words that Lucia has just uttered to bring this to a beautiful close.
No, wonderful session, and I remember it throws me back to my days, dating myself now, but I used to push the wheel down the road, also in the traffic when I started in Zimbabwe and South Africa, and trying to push wheels diagonally across roads with trucks thundering towards you was probably more dangerous than riding a bike across there, which was a little bit faster, but absolutely crucial. David Katz is with us, and he says he's the much older man in the room, and he's very adamant that it's the bike and the wheel. The bike and the Jones counter. So really great to have you there, David. Lucia, a couple of things I pick up there. Clearly, it's not for the faint-hearted, but the opportunity to help others to shine, to create an impact. The importance of mentors, and I know you have a number of mentors, of which David Katz is one of them. We all have opportunities in this industry to mentor others, and it's crucial to, if we look at the panel that we've had over the course of tonight, we've had the likes of Mary Wittenberg, who's been around for decades, and David on the screen, and various others, and many young people coming through, which I think is so crucial to the future of this industry. So look out for a role that you can play as a mentor to help create success stories like Lucia. It's been an absolute pleasure. Alessio, I'll wrap it up unless there's anything further that you want to say. It's been an absolute pleasure to once again host it. Thank you, Alessio, for the opportunity. Thank you to Natasha for all the help in helping co-curate the show. Thank you to all of our speakers, and of course to our attendees. We started with over 500 people registered tonight. When I just before I came on air, we were at, I think, 514, which is close to a record. We had, I think, close to 200 online at one stage, and we've got about around 100 of you that have stayed the distance. So thank you very much. Hopefully it's been insightful. It has certainly been insightful and inspirational for me. A quick reminder that we have been recording live on the Mass Participation World YouTube channel. So if you had to duck off and want to come and catch up on it, and also on the Mass Participation World Facebook page, we will be sending out the recording. An important date for your diary, the 1st of July will be our next one. We will come back to you with more details on that. But once again, thank you so much. Thank you to the crew here in the studio with me in Bali. Chris Robb, CEO and founder of Mass Participation World, signing off. Looking forward to seeing you on the 1st of July. Thank you for joining me to celebrate women in running. Take care, sleep well, have a great day wherever it might be that you've joined us from. No. Well done, guys. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Just got to sort that sound thing out.
Just a small glitch today, but otherwise.
Yeah, otherwise it was seamless, and as Kev, well done, man. Thank you. Great having you with Ted. Thank you. Great job, love.
I will add the stream from YouTube.
Yeah, you can end the streams for sure. I just want to have a quick look at the chat before we. Yeah, I mean, and look, as